Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday from the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. It's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Brooke Grimsley, Dan McLaughlin, Matthew Rocchio. I'm Randy Carricker. Happy championship weekend, and Americana is what it's all about. And America is where we live, is a great country. And I have a very good friend that knows I'm a huge sports fan. And this morning, I walk into the office.
That is shocking. You had a friend that knows you're a sports fan.
Well, a sports fan and a Reese's fan.
Oh, okay.
I walk in this morning, and here is a giant box of Reese's footballs. Thank you, dear. Tap, tap. And yeah, incredible. So, we're enjoying some Reese's footballs as we get ready for, first of all, let's start with this, okay? We were talking yesterday. We have deep conversations here in the opening drive. We were talking yesterday about the Constitution, and we were talking about, just America in general. Is there anything more Americana, Brooke and Dan? Sorry I didn't introduce you already. I'm kind of excited about these.
Good morning, Randy.
Yes. Good morning. Than Reese's and football. I mean, Reese's footballs are where it's at, right?
It is. It really is. And I especially like the football version. Now, I know that they're all the same, but is there something about that you guys prefer different shapes? Because I like the pumpkin one, the Reese's pumpkin shape one. I like the football shaped one, which we have a theme going on here, and I like the Christmas tree shaped one.
I'll take the eggs.
They're not all the same.
The Easter eggs. I love those. Those are big time.
The
those
eggs
are good.
And by the way, now they make with the same egg shape Christmas bulbs.
That's right.
Same things. Matthew, were you here when the greatest event to happen since I've been doing mornings happened?
That's one way to describe it. But I do want to say, Brooke, don't feel weird. There's different shapes have different, levels of chocolate and peanut butter discrepancy.
True.
So if you have a personal favorite one, there's a reason that shape that you like it better, because it's a different balance, and that matters.
That makes sense.
You guys know that I'm always up for a challenge.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Well, you got a tattoo to prove it.
I was worried about you at 9 o'clock.
I will take a dare.
Yeah.
So Michelle Smallman, our host, former co-host here on the opening drive, who now is, actually it was Carricker and Smallman back in the day. So she does the morning show before us now. And a couple of years ago, she is well aware of my affinity for Reese's. And I told her, I could eat this for Good Friday, biggest comeback weekend of the year. I said, I can eat a 1 pound Reese's bunny in an hour. And she said, no, you can't. And I said, yes, I can. And she said, no, you can't. And I said, yes, I can. And she said, prove it. And I said, okay, sure, do it tomorrow. And so she comes in with a 1 pound Reese's bunny, and I start eating 1 pound Reese's bunny at 7 in the morning. And by 7:58, 1 pound Reese's bunny is gone.
How were you the rest of the day?
I was zooming. It was my face got. Matthew,
What happened about 9:15?
kind of crashed.
It got rough.
Yeah,
Things got rough in the studio for a minute.
But I did the whole show.
Yep.
Did you throw up?
No.
Okay.
Dan, you know me. You've known me for 30 years.
I've known you longer than that, actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the other day. I've known you for almost 32 years, I believe.
Wow. Yeah. See? So you know that I can do that.
I've seen it. I've seen some great emotional. I've seen some great physical feats, and usually they're connected.
Yeah, this was one of them.
Of eating.
It all circles back to eating. And now you'll have
Reese's.
that this weekend.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm willing to share, obviously. I want my cohorts to enjoy the fruits of the labor of the framers of our Constitution.
Sure.
I'm sure planned in 2024 on people having a ton of Reese's and eating a ton of food before football games.
It's Americana, baby, at its best.
So Danny asked me, and everybody has to weigh in here, and you can text in. Our text line is open, 314. Well, let's do a segment on this later. 314-399-9646, 314-399.
Yo-ho.
Danny,
Yo-ho. See,
Oh my gosh.
That's my one. I
beautiful.
felt like it was emotional. I felt like I put a little into it, and a little sing to it.
Might be the best one ever.
It really was.
Was that a dwarf from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
I don't know. It was something from back then. I had no
It
idea.
came from deep in your soul.
It did.
Dan.
White.
Here's the question before we get to the open. We aren't doing a championship bash this year. I think we've always done a championship bash except for COVID. 101 ESPN. We're not doing it this year. But when you are home on Sunday, Dan asked me, what's your menu for Sunday? And
Can I interject?
Yes.
Because normally Randy has a theme for the play for who's ever playing. So if you're going to play out in San Francisco or the 49ers are coming to St. Louis, it would be some type of seafood. You're looking at Baltimore, so crab cakes, those kind of things. So take it from there.
So when you asked me, I really hadn't thought about
you had
it
a
much.
theme.
Yeah, but obviously, the best clam chowder I've ever had was on Fisherman's Wharf. And I know Fisherman's Wharf isn't what it was. So, but back in the day, you could go out to Fisherman's Wharf. What I would do whenever I would go out there for a football game or baseball or whatever, I'd rent a bike, ride across the Golden Gate Bridge, go down to Sausalito, and then take the ferry back and land right where the clam chowder out on Fisherman's Wharf was. So I'm going to start with San Francisco clam chowder. I will do that. I will do crab cakes from Balmer. And then Kansas City has really good ribeye. I don't know if I do Kansas City ribeye or ribs or barbecue.
Just barbecue in general, maybe.
Yeah, probably for the first game. And then Detroit.
That's just for the first game.
Just for the first.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's two
so
games,
funny.
right? And then for Detroit, I don't know. Did they make Reese's Bullets?
Randy,
What?
no,
Well.
they are known. Here we go. I'm gonna change subjects. They are known for their square pizza.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Little Caesars.
yeah,
But
little
isn't St.
Domino's.
Louis known for that? The square beyond compare.
We are, yeah. Their pizza, Little Caesars. Okay, again, weigh in. I used to have Little Caesars near me. There was one at Dorset and McKelvey. There was one up on Page. I don't believe there's a Little Caesars near me. There might be one out in St. Charles
seen
County.
one.
So, again, text in if there's a Little Caesars around. I would do that. Or you can always do Domino's, because Domino's is that was founded in Detroit, too. But anyway, so the question of the day is, what's your menu for Sunday? We're doing great sports here.
Randy, there's a
Great.
Yeah, we'll do that at
sports here.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, we'll do what your menu is for the weekend.
there's a Little Caesars in Overland.
Oh,
There's
still there?
other
Okay.
places that have them too. I can't
Okay.
because I've passed them on different places that I've gone to, and I've noticed there's
Technically
there's a
St. John.
Little Caesars. I'm surprised that it's there, but I have seen it. There's a few that are still around. I like Little Caesars.
I love it.
We used to go do the Blues games in Detroit, and Bernie would put on a clinic on how much he would eat, and we would put a bet on how many pieces of pizza he could eat, and it was amazing. I mean, we would get into close to the teens.
Wow.
Before a game, yeah.
That's pretty. That's,
Have a little side bet going.
I would have never thought that Bernie Federico, who is a very lean,
Oh, he
well-conditioned
can eat, man. Like, unbelievable.
because I used to be
renowned.
able to eat back in the day.
Well, he works out a ton.
Yeah.
Like, Bernie will run 5 miles a day and then
Wow.
put on a spectacular show at dinner.
Dan,
Yes.
Matthew, I have not run 5 miles combined in my life.
You've walked plenty, though.
I've got a little. I have walked a lot. I've got a little sticker on my car that says 0.0. You know how those people have like 13.1, 26.2. I've got the 0.0 sticker on mine. Okay, the Blues are at Seattle tonight to take on the Kraken. Blues are. They got to get Kraken again. Get it?
I got it.
Yeah, Blues have won the first 2 of this road trip, and they play. They play at home on Sunday afternoon. Great scheduling, NHL. So we'll have that one for you here on 101 ESPN.
Hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. No,
Ooh.
they didn't either. Yeah, that's
No.
Canadian.
Canadian.
They're playing in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's not Canada.
Well, that's tonight. I mean, the NHL in general playing here on Sunday.
Yeah,
Canadian
yeah.
rules? Is that what you're saying?
exactly.
Yeah.
How about this? Looks like Bill Belichick is not going to get a job this year in the NFL hiring cycle. Yesterday, the Falcons, who were the one team to interview him, hired Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris, who at one point was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dave Canales, the first-year offensive coordinator of the Buccaneers, gets hired by the Panthers for their job. So the only teams left are the Commanders and the Seahawks. Vrabel is out there. Looks like the Commanders are going to go with Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator from Detroit. And it looks like Belichick is going to be, and McDaniels, are going to be on the outside looking in.
I'm actually a little bit surprised by this because we've talked about it. I mean, Bill Belichick, I know that, Randy, you have your stats ready to go. So before I say this, a lot of people consider him one of the greatest coaches of all time. If you want to plug in your Tom Brady
I know
numbers
NFL
there.
ownership listens to the show. So they're well aware of the fact that Bill Belichick, without Tom Brady as his starting quarterback, has a winning percentage of .453.
There you go. I know that you had that in your pocket, but I am very surprised to see that both of them are left standing in this game of musical chairs. But it seems like it's continuing with that theme of the youth movement, the younger coordinators taking over right now.
And the fact that Belichick, on the flip side, Brooke, to your point, is going to be 73 if he's on the outside looking in. And I'm sure that these organizations said, this is a short term. This is a 2 to 3 year situation that we have with this head coach, and then after that, are we going to have to do this all again? What's interesting, Raheem Morris is 21-38, has never taken a team to a playoff game, and you're sitting there saying, we'd rather have that than Mike Vrabel. We'd rather have that than Bill Belichick. I mean, this guy must be really well thought of in NFL circles to do this.
And he was already there for 4 years as he was a receivers coach, then moved over to be defensive coordinator.
He was interim too, right?
Right, was their interim head coach. The other interesting thing about the Belichick situation there is that the perception was he didn't want Rich McKay to have any power in the organization anymore. Rich McKay's been the president of the Falcons for more than 20 years. And so all the football people are saying, well, what about Rich? Even Arthur Blank, you can't just bring Belichick in because of what you say, Dan, because he's going to be there for 3 years. So you're going to blow it up. You're going to cut the legs out from Rich McKay, start a whole new football operation, and then 3 years later, you got to do it again because Belichick's 75.
Well, do you think that a lot of this goes back to, we think that the Chargers job is the only one where the head coach would come in, with Harbaugh taking that job, where he would also have control more of the roster, control of how things would look. The other jobs, I don't know if they were exactly looking for that. So you saw what happened with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, right? There was a power struggle between him and the GMs. Robinson before ran that came in there. And then you see with Bill Belichick, what is his reputation of how he likes to do things? So maybe that's something with what the teams, where they're saying, well, if we're going to hire a head coach, we're going to want to do it our way. And not where we're going to have this power struggle going on.
That's always a problem. We saw that here in St. Louis. With a good team that has a power struggle, you don't have people trying to take credit for bad teams, by the way. You only have power struggles with good teams. And that happened here, and that's why the greatest show on turf fell apart. And that would happen. Heck, that did happen in New England to an extent because they lost so many good talent evaluators, and Dimitrov and TIOLI and the guy who's in Houston now, their general manager. There's so many people, so much brain drain from New England, and that's why they don't have great players anymore. By the way, Dan, and I know this is a singular event when you talk about Raheem Morris's record. Everybody's wanting, when they hire the Raheem Morrises of the world, everybody wants Marv Levy, who was with the Chiefs 5 years, 31-42, but then goes to Buffalo. He goes 112-70 and gets to 4 Super Bowls. But that happens much less than it does more.
Here's the question then. Would you, playing devil's advocate here, let's just say that Bill Belichick would go to Atlanta and win you a championship, but then all of a sudden you're left with all the pieces that come crumbling in, let's say, 3 years. Is that worth it, or is it not worth it and then go the other direction and still not win?
Because they've never won a Super Bowl, I think it's worth it. I think it was different for the Rams when they won a few years ago. Now, they had to win for L.A. They thought they did. But then to have that all fall apart and lose all the star power, it was kind of like the Marlins, the way the Rams fell apart so quickly. But in a situation indigenous to Atlanta, where you've never won before and you do, then it's worth it.
Yeah. I think anytime you can have yourself a championship, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're going to get back there again.
Exactly.
I've always felt that way.
I still think, while it's maybe one of the least interesting jobs out there, and a lot of people probably didn't want it, the Panthers situation is intriguing to me just because of David Tepper and his reputation. Bringing in Carnales, I think that the report by Adam Schefter is that they're going to give him a 6-year contract. Supposedly, they're going to let him build there. But if you look at David Tepper and what he's done over the years, the mid-season firings.
6 months.
I think they give Rule a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
So just to follow this along of how quickly David Tepper gets rid of his coaches in his mid-season firings, you had Frank Reich, Week 14 of 2023, Matt Rule, Week 6 of 2022, and Ron Rivera, Week 14 of 2019. So you sign that 6-year contract. Either way, I'm sure it will work out for him. But when you hear that, that doesn't really seem like he wants a coach who's going to stay there for a long time.
That's how you get one-year offensive coordinators as your head coach. Now, hopefully he works out, and he has great familiarity with Dan Morgan. They worked together in Seattle, and the guy has the Pete Carroll pedigree. So hopefully for him and for them it'll work out. But to your point, Brooke, the odds are that it's not going to because of the owner.
So what happens with Seattle? What happens with Washington now? Those are the two openings.
Well, Seattle has interviewed Quinn, and I think they've had flirtations with Vrabel.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that one of those guys will wind up there. And then the Commanders, I think, are all in on Ben Johnson, apparently.
That's what it seems like.
So you get Harbaugh with the Chargers, Pierce with the Raiders, Mayo with the Patriots, Callahan with the Titans, Canales with the Panthers. Raheem Morris now is with Atlanta, so it's all shaken out, and you know the other two. It just seems like Bill Belichick could be on the outside looking in, and if teams are saying that at the age of nearly 72, it's going to be tough to bring him in, what do you say a year from now? I mean, have we seen him coach his last NFL game? It could be the case.
I have a conspiracy theory, Dan.
Oh, I'm sure with him, you got to have one.
Okay, what about this? The rumors of Andy Reid retiring. What if he retires after this season? Bill Belichick goes to Kansas City.
I would be stunned.
I would be stunned too, but it's a conspiracy theory.
How about Bieniemy and Spags, though? Because you've already got the infrastructure there for those guys to try to keep winning. Mm-hmm. Do you want to introduce Patrick Mahomes to the and Kelce to Bill Belichick's no fun? Belichick practices guys that have concussions. You don't want that in your building. Come on.
So you're out on that one.
No. You want Patrick Mahomes to be fun and be what he is.
But Travis Kelce could also be retiring. Just going to throw that out
He says he's
there.
going to play. He said he's coming back this year in 24. So I wouldn't want Belichick to interfere with that sort of fun. That'd be bad. Just bad.
This didn't seem like the right fit.
No.
As fun as they are, offensive-minded as they are, he just didn't seem like he'd be the guy that would fit there.
And by the way, I don't know what's happened so far in New England. You remember back with the Steel Curtain, Jack Ham.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll hire him as their defensive coordinator so that they have Ham and Mayo.
It's terrible.
Oh, my God.
So bad. Do you think of this stuff all day?
No, I thought of it when you said it with Mayo.
By the way, Jets Pizza. People are saying Jets
Jets.
Pizza
Is that
for
Detroit?
Yeah, they're saying that's Detroit, and that's right down the street.
Yeah, I could do that.
It's big deep dish.
I'm in.
It is. It's kind of
Okay.
that deep dish, and then Motortown Pizza in Brentwood is another really, really good one.
Okay,
just
that
for you
sounds like
guys.
Detroit, too.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Motor City.
Yeah.
Motown.
So there you go, Randy. You got
Thank
your
you.
pizza for
We're
right
set
down
up.
the street for
Yeah,
Sunday.
We're set up, so that'll be, pizza and clam chowder. That's all right. We can do that.
You can do
If
that.
you handled an hour worth of all those Reese's and the bunny, you can handle that.
Well, I just want to do that for the separate games, So.
That's what I'm saying. I think you can handle it. I've got you think you can handle it, I guess.
Yeah, I can.
That's no problem whatsoever.
No problem.
Okay.
All right. Coming up, it is NFL Championship weekend. We're going to give you our confidence points for the 4 teams that are playing. Matthew, Brooke, Dan, and Randy on the opening drive on this Friday, Championship Weekend Friday on 101 ESPN. It's going to be an awesome weekend of championship games on Sunday. You've got at 2 o'clock the Chiefs at Baltimore. Baltimore is a 4-point favorite. They're the number one seed, obviously, in the AFC. They're over-under for that game. The two teams over-under 44.5 points. And then in the evening at 5:30, the Lions are at San Francisco, and San Francisco is a 7.5-point favorite. So we're going to do confidence points, and you assign points to the team that you have the most confidence in. So if you think, for example, like I do, that San Francisco is the team that is the biggest lock to win, you give them 4 points, and then subsequent to that. Okay, so let's go down the list, and Brooke and Dan and Matthew will give you theirs. Brooke, why don't you get us started with your 4-pointer?
It's going to have to be the 49ers. It's not the flashy or the more surprising choice, but it's the right choice, right? Even with Brock Purdy, where it wasn't his best game last week, he was still able to lead them to a victory. And I know that Deebo Samuel was injured in that game. He's still questionable for this weekend. But the fact that they were able to still win that game without Deebo, I think says a lot. I think that proved a lot of people wrong, or the doubters wrong, in a lot of ways of if they would be able to do it without Deebo for an entire game. And they still were able to do it. And Brock Purdy, even though it wasn't his best game, and luckily, I think they won't have the weather issues this weekend, right? It'll be nice and sunny. I think that was a huge factor in why he struggled. I still think that that is the best overall team. So I'm giving him 4 points.
4 points for San Francisco. Brock Purdy has a huge game for the 49ers. Detroit has to pressure him, but the Lions are 24th in sacks, gave up 8 yards a pass. I think Brock Purdy has a massive game. And he's a reason that he's an MVP finalist, which was announced yesterday. So I like San Francisco.
I like San Francisco, too. Offensively, I think the key is going to be McCaffrey. I worry about trying to throw the ball with Aiden Hutchinson coming off the edge. And McKivitz, the right tackle for San Francisco, he's inexperienced. And I don't know that he can hang with Aiden Hutchinson in the passing game. I think that offensively, everything will go through McCaffrey. But I think the reason that San Francisco is going to win is because of their defense. I just don't think, as great as Jared Goff is, and I think he's terrific, and I like their receivers, but man, handling Kinlaw and dealing with Chase Young now and having Bosa and Fred Warner in the middle of the field covering Sam Laporta, it's just going to be really difficult for the Lions to score. And we gave this stat yesterday. We'll give it again. When the Lions are indoors, they average 31 points a game. When they're outdoors, they average 18 a game. So
that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
13-point difference. Matthew, how about your 4-pointer?
It's 4 points to the Niners.
Okay, good. All right, 3 points. Brooke.
3 points. Man, this is tough because I've been high on the Chiefs and I still believe in them, but I think the better overall team is going to be the Ravens. And I think defensively, too, the Ravens defense is going to be a big factor. Of course, you have Lamar Jackson and how dynamic that he is, but the matchup to watch this weekend is going to be Mark Hamilton and Travis Kelce, because Travis Kelce, obviously, as we know, he's been doing a little bit better. He really broke out in that last game, and I think that's something that led Patrick Mahomes to feel a lot more comfortable throwing downfield. But at the same time, Hamilton, have you guys seen him this season?
A stud.
He is. And so I think I'm going to go with the Ravens, one, because of what they're able to do offensively, but then defensively as well. They're just a really well-rounded group.
So I'm going with the Ravens as well. I love their defense. How do you not? Statistically, number one in so many categories. And they cannot, I don't care what Spags throws at them, they will not be able to contain Lamar. Best player right now in the National Football League. Electric, exciting. And I think he's got the most pressure on him, by the way, going into this weekend. Lives up to all that, and they send him to the Super Bowl.
Yesterday in practice, the Chiefs got limited participation from Mike Edwards, limited participation from Willie Gay, and conversely, the Ravens got full participation from Mark Andrews. I think that the Ravens will be able to score, and Spags will have a great plan against them, but I think the Ravens
He's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Spags is really good.
He really is, but this one is one of those ones where it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. And so I think Baltimore wins this game too. On the other side of the coin, I do think San Francisco will be, or Kansas City will be able to score. I think this has a chance to be a 20, kind of like the Buffalo game, 27-24 kind of game, but I think Baltimore comes out on top.
All right, we all agree there.
Yep, Matthew?
I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to put the Chiefs. I'm going to give the Chiefs 3 points on this one. I just feel like they're rolling right now, and I'm a big on, if you're the king, until you get completely dethroned, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, unless you've just completely fallen off, and clearly the Chiefs haven't.
Never underestimate the heart of a champion.
Oh, there you go. All right, we're doing 2
Yep.
points now. Also, I just want to correct myself real quick. I don't know why I said Mark Hamilton. I meant Kyle Hamilton. Excuse me.
Mark Hamilton. There was a Mark Hamilton somewhere that was famous.
The ice skater. No idea why that was on my brain. But anyways, Kyle Hamilton, I think is going to be a big matchup to watch this weekend with Travis Kelce. My number 2, and this is why I hate this, because I'm still high on the Chiefs, but I think it's going to be the Chiefs for my number 2, for my 2 points. I'm going to give them. You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I still think, though, that offensively there's some holes there, and that's why I fully can't be in on them. And defensively, I've been really high on the Chiefs defense, but they're going to have their hands full. Chris Jones and the defense is going to have to do a really good job of slowing down Lamar Jackson in their run game, and they're going to have their hands full with that. So that is why I'm going with the Chiefs with the 2 points.
So I'm with Rocc here. I was really debating whether to put Kansas City as my number 3. I did go with them as a number 2. The reason, though, I like Kansas City potentially in this game is what they did against Buffalo. They had 7 possessions, 5 scoring drives. One of those resulted, by the way, one of those drives with the fumble that was in the end zone. If not, they score even more. They average 9 yards per pass attempt, second best this season in the game against Buffalo. Average 8 yards per play, the highest rate this season. So while everybody was questioning their offense and Kelce getting older and receivers are dropping everything in sight, they did have it going last weekend. And if they do, they make a game of it this weekend.
Guys, my 2-pointer is the Detroit Lions. They're healthy. They're diversified offensively. They've got a defense that can get after the quarterback. And the key is going to be, and obviously I have San Francisco as number 1. The key is going to be able to handle Christian McCaffrey for them. Can the Detroit defense handle Christian McCaffrey and hold San Francisco below 18 points? Maybe you have an 18-17 kind of a game. That's going to be the key. I think Detroit is capable of that, and that's why I have them as my 2-pointer.
Yeah, Ravens are my clear, too. I fluctuated a lot between that one. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but it wouldn't shock me if the Ravens did it all. So they're my 2 easy.
Okay, here's my 1-pointer.
Wow.
Kansas City. Wow. And here's the thing. Isaiah Pacheco did not practice yesterday. Joe Tooney did not practice yesterday. They finally got some work out of Rashee Rice. He'll play. He won't have any problem. Ladarius Sneed, limited practice yesterday. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, limited practice yesterday. They just are so banged up. And when you're trying to block Justin Madubuike and you don't have Joe Tooney, you got problems. And I think that there's a chance that the Baltimore defense might be able to stifle Kansas City. If Kansas City doesn't have Pacheco, they got their running game is gone if they don't have Tooney and Pacheco. Mm-hmm. And so then all of a sudden, if Kansas City is one-dimensional, as great as Patrick Mahomes is, with that Baltimore defense, and you mentioned Hamilton and a guy like Madubuike, Clowney is back as a pass rusher, that's a really tough defense to score on. So I've got Kansas City as my number 1. 1 point.
My 1 point is going to be the Lions. And I really like the Lions and their personality this season, but I still think that they're a pretty young group. I think they have a high upside, but still the 49ers are just a beast. And I think that they're going to run into a lot of trouble this weekend with them.
So the Lions, to me, and they are my 1-pointer, if you will, they have to run the football, and sometimes your best defense is your offense to keep them off the field. And so I look at that being a huge key for them. Jahmyr Gibbs, team rushing, David Montgomery, 5th in the league. If they can run the football, they have a chance to win this game and keep it close.
Dan, you remember the NFC Championship game for the 01 season when the offense, Andy Reid's offense for Philadelphia, was so solid. And what the Rams do in the second half, they just started to hand it off to Marshall. Right. And Marshall ran for almost 200 yards. I think he ran for like 125 in the second half. You're exactly right. That's the way Detroit's going to have to win the game.
Run the football.
Yep. Matthew.
I mean, yeah, Detroit's my number 1. Yeah, that's kind of just
number
process,
1 or 1 point?
Or my 1-pointer. That's kind of process of elimination. By the way, the total, I totaled up the scores. The Chiefs got 16, the Ravens got 11, the Chiefs got 8, and the Lions got 5.
There you go. There you have it. So if you're putting your bets down on FanDuel this weekend or whatever, don't listen to us. That's entertainment and information purposes only.
You sure about that?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. Coming up, we're going to talk some golf with Jay Delsing. The Farmers is going on. A lot of things happening in the world of golf. And, of course, the golf show with Dan and Jay coming up on Sunday morning. Jay is next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are back in action tonight, facing off against the Seattle Kraken. It's a late game as they are on the coast with a 9 p.m. puck drop. You can catch the pregame show right here on your home for the St. Louis Blues, 101 ESPN, starting at 8 p.m. And coming up this weekend, it's a triple header for your local college basketball teams. Missouri faces off against South Carolina at noon. Indiana faces off against number 10 Illinois at 2 p.m. And then St. Louis hosts UMass on Saturday evening, tipping off at 7. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your Rodents Up 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Jay Delsing and Danny Mac have a great golf show, Golf with Jay Delsing, Sunday mornings 8 to 10 here on 101 ESPN. Dan is already here, and Jay, as he does every Friday, joins us on the Celebrity Line. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning. I think I heard a weird yo-ho this morning.
Oh, you bet you did.
Yeah, it was a fantastic yo-ho.
You bet you did.
Yeah.
You get one.
My dog sat up and said, "Was that Danny Mac?"
Yeah, you get one yo-ho a show.
Danny Mac yo-hoed. I love it.
One yo-ho a show, Jay. Let's just keep it there. We're growing. We're making steps here.
All right, Jay, a couple of things before I let the other guys ask questions. First question, the PGA Golf Show in Orlando this week. Are we making a big mistake with this show not being at the golf show some year?
This depends on the weather. If it's really super cold here, yeah, you're making a big mistake. Hey, Randy, for golf geeks, it is awesome. It is over 1 million square feet of just anything and everything related to golf. It is really super cool.
Okay, so we'll plan on that for next year. My next question is this. The golfers are playing at Torrey Pines, and I was just running down with Brooke and Danny the leaders, and it's a guy named Stefan Jaeger, Nikolai Hogard, Matthew Pavon, Thomas Detry, Tony Finau, we all know, Michael Kim, but then Joseph Bramlett, Emiliano Grillo, Aaron Rai. Most of us would kill. Well, not kill. OJ might kill, but most of us would give a lot to play Torrey Pines. But why don't golfers want to play Torrey Pines?
You know, Randy, everything is all upside down right now in the world of golf, and the certain events are elevated. You're required to play certain events. The next tournament at Pebble is an elevated event. Then you have in Arizona, the Waste Management, which is a huge event, and then it's followed up by Tiger's event in LA. And so, unfortunately, some of these events wind up being they're victims of the schedule and where they fall. And I will tell you this, Torrey, you know, Jones came in, and they call him the U.S. Open doctor, and he made the South course just weird, man. We played that in college, and it's a beautiful setting right out on the water, Black's Beach down there. I was told that was a nude beach down there, but I hit a ball over there. I couldn't. My eyesight was good back then; couldn't see anything. So I'm not sure about that. But the golf course is beautiful, and what he did to it, I don't know. It's tough, man. It's not that great to play anymore.
Jay, a name that a lot of people haven't heard in a while, Anthony Kim, is talking about his return to golf after an 11-year absence. As we remember, he had a really promising start to his golf career, and then it got derailed because of injuries over a decade ago, and reportedly he's considered coming back. What do you think about his return?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. So Anthony Kim he was a lot like Tiger in his approach. He was brash. He was extremely confident, and I got to play with him. And guys, he's as good a player as anyone I've ever seen. I talked to his teacher coach last night, and they're all pretty tight-lipped about it. So what happened with Anthony Kim is I think he won 3 or 4 tournaments in the first couple of years on tour. He had a phenomenal Ryder Cup. This is about 10 or 12 years ago on the down in Valhalla, I think, where Paul Azinger was the U.S. coach. Anthony Kim went out in the individuals and beat Sergio Garcia handily, which was really, really pretty cool. And then he wound up getting hurt. He hurt his thumb, and he wound up having a bunch of injuries. He wound up taking a $10 million, and this was a much bigger deal. You could imagine 12, 15 years ago. He wound up taking a huge insurance disability claim and said, look, my career's over. I can't play anymore. He got $10 million, but he has to give that back if he comes back. Well, with what's happened with Liv and everything, I mean, $10 million is nothing anymore. So there's a big rumor, and there have been rumors before, and I followed them all. I just talked to his former coach, and he's going to come on the show, but he's not going to be able to tell us anything until after the LA Open. So that's still a month away. So we're all going to just have to sit and wait a little bit.
This weekend it's Golf with Jay Delsing, 8 to 10 on Sunday morning here on 101 ESPN. One of the guests, Jerry Haas, Belleville area native. He's the head coach at Wake Forest. Also, Bob Herrig, longtime golf reporter at SI and ESPN. And he has a new book coming out on Tiger Woods. But one of the things that we got into was, can the PGA Tour and LIV coexist?
If they don't make a deal, I think it's very hard for LIV to prosper because they're going to be considered an outlier. They're not going to be part of the golf ecosystem. Are they ever going to get world ranking points? Would there still be a stigma with them? You see it today. People that just do not like it. They hate what they've done, and so they'll never accept it. They need the acceptance. They need TV windows, frankly. They don't have them right now. Next week, when they play their first event, it's up against Pebble Beach. What are you going to watch? I mean, are you going to go back and forth? Are you going to watch Pebble Beach? I mean, it's not as strict. We're going to just watch LIV.
It's interesting. Randy and I were talking during the break in Brook about the TV aspect of LIV and the PGA Tour, and maybe the best way to do this, Jay, is to stagger those, to have an event early and an event late, and if it's the PGA Tour and LIV, maybe that's one way they coexist on the television side.
Yeah, I think so. You know what I see happening, you guys, is they may fold one or two LIV events into a worldwide schedule, and the rest will go away, as will this silly, stupid format. Let's just call it what it is. It's stupid. We got 54 holes, 48 people playing, no cut, and a shotgun start. I mean, that's going to go away. I really believe it, and they're somehow going to come out of this thing with some sort of worldwide schedule and some worldwide events where there's going to be many more events played outside the U.S. and a good portion of those LIV events will just go away with the ridiculous format. That's what I think is going to happen. I just can't figure out how they're going to evaluate what the PGA Tour is with, and I think that's what's worth, because I think that's one of the massive stumbling blocks here before they can, get this agreement worked out. There's just so many assets and so many. I don't know. We asked Bob about that yesterday, Danny, and he was like, I don't know how you even begin to do that. And it's way above my pay grade. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, we're looking forward to the show on Sunday morning. Jay, it's always good to hear your voice. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it, and enjoy your weekend.
You too, guys. And can I just give a plug for Mark Milton? He is the St. Louis STL tax attorney. We talk some really cool tax situations and modern-day athletes. Albert Pujols' contract when he left St. Louis, and some really, really interesting parts to that. But thanks for having me on, guys.
You got it. We're looking forward to that on Sunday morning, 8 to 10. All right, that is Jay Delsing with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Dan already did his for the day, and we do appreciate it.
No problem.
Beautiful.
TIOLI is next on 101 ESPN.
Oh, a second one.
take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, time for TIOLI here on 101 ESPN, and we've all seen the video now of Jason Kelce leaning out of the suite in Buffalo after Travis Kelce scored the touchdown, and Jason obviously shirtless. And we heard yesterday on Rock and Roll from the New Heights podcast how Jason approached with his bride how he was going to go shirtless in said suite.
There was not enough cameras on the suite where you could see Kylie, though. I wanted to see her reaction to all of this so bad.
I'm not going to lie. I gave Kylie a heads up. The moment we got into the suite, I said, I'm taking my shirt off and I'm jumping out of that suite. And she said, Jason, don't you dare. I was like, hey, just letting you know what's happening. I'm not asking for permission. I'm doing this.
So yesterday, Kelce tweets, quote, "I'm not asking for permission. I'm doing this," unquote. The exact quote I will say when I'm grabbing the keys to go get a cat. I believe it was worth it.
I'm going to have to take it. 100% worth it.
Trade a shirtless Jason for a cat.
Yeah, why not?
I think they're so fun.
Yeah.
I think that they're so fun. I don't understand why. And now you have the Kelce brothers, the whole situation. I know that a lot of people fixate on Taylor Swift, but now it seems like there's some hate going towards the wife, like Kelce's wife, and all the different kinds of stuff. I don't understand it. I think this is all so much fun.
There's a lot of hate in the world. Too much.
I think he's great. I think he's great for sports. I think he's entertainment, and that's what this ultimately is supposed to be about.
That's what it's all about.
And when he decides to do some more broadcasting, just let him be him. You don't have to put him in a suit. Just let him be him.
But have a delay.
Oh, yeah. You might need to do that. Take it or leave it, guys. I am going to throw another conspiracy theory. I'm all in on the Bill Belichick conspiracy theories this morning.
Like it.
Okay, he'll sit out this year, and then he will become the Cowboys head coach next season.
Ooh, Brooke. I think that's interesting. But I'm going to leave it because I still don't think that Jerry Jones has it in him to allow that sort of power. But I have put
After
some thought
keeping
into this.
McCarthy for another year, a lot of people didn't think that he would do that.
But how will Belichick, if Belichick wanted Rich McKay out in Atlanta, how's he going to handle an owner that gives press conferences after the game?
Don't you think that this interview process maybe humbled him a little bit?
Perhaps. How about this one, though? How about after a 1-4 start, Bill Belichick takes over the Jets and Aaron Rodgers and the great defense next year?
You think there's any way
I like that one.
the Jets and Belichick could coexist?
It's a different ownership now. He left a different ownership. Yeah, I think they can.
But with all the media and the things that happened and the ugly way it ended, I know the participants are different. I get it. But
I think they could, because those owners, they are the most hands-off owners in football. The Johnson brothers are. Johnson & Johnson, as a matter of fact. They let Joe Douglas and Saleh, they're letting them hang themselves. So I think that they would, I think they could easily coexist.
Okay, Missouri football next year. At home has Murray State, Buffalo. Yeah, go through your wins here.
Okay.
It'll lead to what I'm doing. Both of you guys. So Buffalo.
Win.
Boston College.
Win.
Vanderbilt.
Win.
Texas A&M.
At Texas A&M, right?
That is at Texas.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a win.
UMass.
Win.
Auburn.
Win.
Ooh, that's always a good one.
At Alabama.
Loss.
Oklahoma at home.
Win.
South Carolina at South Carolina.
Win.
Mississippi State and Starkville.
Win.
That's a win.
Arkansas at home in Columbia.
Easy win. That's 11-1.
So the Vegas odds have the over/under at 9.5. Take it or leave it. The Missouri Tigers are over 9.5.
I think I just went over.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that.
They have a chance to do that.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that a few years ago with this program was at and going in the SEC and getting just steamrolled by some of these teams. It looked like he had never had a chance, and now they have a legitimate shot to be one of the top seeds going into the college football playoff.
Here's another fun and interesting thought process from me. Take it or leave it. Mike Vrabel for the defensive coordinator at Mizzou.
I'm going to leave that.
I'm going to leave that.
That might be a big difference.
Steve Wilkes was an NFL head coach and defensive coordinator who found himself as the defensive coordinator at Mizzou.
Are you guys surprised this hasn't been filled yet?
Different?
Yeah.
They got money.
He's definitely talking to NFL guys.
You think so?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So anything's possible at the university. They're paying money. They like winning at Mizzou. The money people they discovered, this is fun. So, yeah, they're willing to pay. Matthew, what do you got on the text line?
Take it or leave it. The Cardinals should have spent that money on Bader instead of Marp.
Didn't Bader get like $10 million?
Yeah, leave that.
I'm going to leave that.
Sometimes I got to read dumb ones.
It's well, they wanted to say it.
10 million versus one.
Not dumb.
Don't
You don't
call
have
them
to.
dumb.
I didn't say they were dumb. I said the take it or leave it was.
Harrison Bader could get you 10 marks.
Completely different things. Jeez.
So Bader got 10. What did he get? 10.5?
Yeah, from the Reds, right?
No, he's going to the Mets.
Yeah, Mets.
He's going
That's
to the
right.
Mets.
Yeah. He was with the Reds last year. Yeah, so $10.5 million from the Mets.
As opposed to the league minimum,
right?
From the Cardinals.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave it.
Take it or leave it. Purdy will throw 2 interceptions, and the 49ers lose by 7 points.
Leave it.
I'm going to leave that.
Brock Purdy is going to have a massive weekend.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to light it up. I do think there's something to the weather last week. I also think there's something, and we saw it a little bit with Baltimore in the first half, having the layoff of the week before.
I agree.
And just trying to catch up and make sure that you're back into the game speed and the things that happen, especially at the playoff level. I think there's something to that.
Yeah, I can see George Kittle having a big weekend. Big game for the Niners.
He better be able to block a little bit and chip.
Yeah. They're going to have to need some help on Hutchinson, no doubt.
Take it or leave it. Aaron Rodgers would mellow out Belichick if he take over the Jets
totally
job.
Take it. Yeah.
I actually didn't even think about that.
Yeah, could you imagine Belichick going on the darkness retreat?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I could.
I want to
Really?
see. I want to see Bill Belichick on mushrooms.
Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, he would.
That would be
On an ayahuasca trip?
That would be delightful.
He wants a relationship with his QB.
Maybe that's the key, that if that does happen, they do have to go to the darkness retreat together.
That would
and
be
have
so
a kumbaya
fun.
moment.
Yeah. How fitting, the Prince of Darkness going into a darkness retreat.
Tell us how you really feel, Randy.
Take it or leave it. Mike McCarthy and Mike Tomlin are essentially the same coach. They have the same record. One just gets a lot of hate because he's fat.
What? Okay.
I am going to leave.
I'm going to go ahead and leave that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that.
Take it or leave it, though.
Okay, so you've got a team that finished 9-8 this year, and you have the choice of hiring McCarthy and giving him power to build a staff and personnel, or Tomlin to build a staff and get personnel. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take Mike Tomlin, who, by the way, also has probably the fewest amount of coaches on his staff than anybody else in the National Football League. How about that?
Yeah.
They're going to encourage him to add to his staff.
Yeah,
that's going to be part of him coming back.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tomlin as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tomlin all day.
And by the way, I think that Mike McCarthy is underrated.
He sure is.
I would love to have a team that goes 12-5
every year.
Yeah.
I love Mike Tomlin, but here's the thing. I've heard there's been a lot of offensive coordinator issues under Tomlin. Arians had some issues at times, and then you had the Canada thing that which went on way too long. He's had some offensive coordinator problems in his time there,
and a lot of those were papered over by Big Ben.
Exactly, and so and McCarthy, I mean, he's had some. I can't remember any of his coordinators like becoming head coaches and blowing up, completely in their face off the top of my head.
No. By the way, here's a fun fact for you. I sent this one to you guys last night. The last time Bill Parcells coached in the NFL was 2006. Right now, the Bill Parcells coaching tree has 3 members in the NFL current coaching community, with Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, and I've got 3 of them. The Bill Belichick coaching tree, if you want to count Brian Daboll, has him and one other. There's more Parcells coaching tree members right now in the NFL, even though he hasn't coached since 2006.
You have quite the disdain for Bill Belichick.
These are facts.
Facts don't have feelings, Dan.
Yeah. Belichick coaching tree in the NFL, Gerard Mayo and maybe Brian Daboll. Parcells coaching tree, Dan Campbell, Todd Bowles, Sean Payton.
Okay, facts maybe don't have feelings, but you can definitely use your facts to play into your feelings.
Oh, but here's the thing.
Stone face.
Let me just run. I'm trying to find Charlie Weiss.
Poker face.
Trying to find Romeo Crennel. Trying to find.
No, Randy, I love this. I truly do.
It's not that hard to find Charlie Weiss.
Trying to find. Where's Eric Mangini on this list?
That's a little less hard to find, but still.
Where's Josh McDaniels? No. Where's Bill O'Brien? No. He's in college. So, no, I'm not finding many of the Belichick coaching tree guys that are coaching right now. Wonder why.
Matt Patricia just killed it.
Patricia, yeah.
What does he do now?
I killed it, I mean.
Oh, that's a great question.
Where's Mangini?
A TV somewhere, I think Fox or something.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, they all wind up doing media. Yeah.
Well, why not? It's, not coaching, not the pressure. You just come and sit down like we do and talk about sports.
That's right.
Not a bad deal.
I enjoy coaching-wise that's on TV? Rex Ryan.
I think he does a great job.
I do, too.
NFL Countdown.
Yeah,
He's on
I enjoy watching him a lot.
And he did a good job. His winning percentage without Tom Brady as his quarterback is way better than Belichick's.
You got to let it go, Randy. At this point, you got to let it go.
Again, facts. I know some people don't like facts, but I love facts. They're fun.
Take it or leave it. Robert Thomas, our 9:30 guest, by the way, for today's show.
Tommy.
Finishes the season with 90 points.
Take it.
I'm going to take it. He's already on pace for it.
Yeah, he's going to do it.
So how many points does he have right now? Blues are just past the midway point of the season. He's at, 47, 48?
He's currently
at
sitting
47?
at 49 points in 46 games. So he has to...
That's a point per game pace, just
technically
slightly
he's
above.
He's got to tick it up just by 1 points per game to get him on pace for 90, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's just under right now.
But the schedule softens up significantly.
It sure does.
There you go. And he's on a tear. 2 assist game last game, 2 assists before that. He's been killing it lately.
It's going to be fascinating to see what the Blues do. If they're playing like this level of hockey and they're playing a much better game, you come trade deadline time, what they want to do. Mm-hmm. Do you say we're going to be good enough to go get the playoffs or at least just get in, which is an accomplishment. You want to do that. Mm-hmm. But they do have parts that I'm sure other teams would want. Is part of this retool. Do you sell a little bit or not?
Aside from Buchnevich, and maybe a defenseman steps up, maybe a Scandella becomes attractive to somebody or a Letty. But I think Buchnevich is really the only forward that a playoff team, somebody who's trying to make the playoffs, that would be the final piece of the puzzle. I can't think of anybody else that the Blues would want to move or that would be valuable enough to move. I don't think, for example, a playoff team that thinks they can get over the top would want Saad.
I think a playoff team would want Colton Parayko.
But I don't think the Blues move him under any. He's an untouchable.
I agree. And he's got a no trade.
Yeah.
So even if they wanted to, you had to go to him. Yeah. But if you're looking for assets of the type of player, that kind of guy is valuable, man, come playoff time.
For me, he's untouchable, but that's the kind of guy you have to get 3 number 1 picks for.
Sure.
And even then, it's a team that's probably good. I'm not even listening on Colton Parayko, and I don't think that Shen, at this point in his career, is a guy that they move. You don't move Thomas. You can't move Kyrou. I just don't know that there's a lot there.
Probably can't move Krug.
I think Buchnevich is the one that you would have to, because that's what teams would be looking for. I don't want to move on from him, but if you're trying to get something in return, then that might be the move.
Yeah.
Tricky part with a Booch trade at this point is that it's, good teams don't have a lot of cap room. And so how do you get the money back to make the trade possible on their end while also adequately preparing for the future and getting pieces for the future from the team who's good but doesn't have the cap room?
And it does become a lot easier when there's only 18 games left in the season or whatever, 18 or 20 games left. It's easier for the math people in hockey to manipulate the cap that way. Dan, if you get a call, if you're Army and you get a call about Parayko, you listening at all?
I'm listening.
Really? Okay.
I am listening. As much as it makes pain me, but I'm at least listening.
Okay. Interesting, because I think he's I think the core, and JR wrote about this last week at the Athletic if you want to read about it, but I think the core right now has to be Thomas and Parayko.
I'm with you. I think it is too, but I gotta take the 1,000-foot view of where I'm at as a franchise. Mm-hmm. And is this truly a retool, which is just to tinker a little bit, wait for these young kids to come up, or am I rebuilding? And only he knows the real answer to that question. Mm-hmm. I think when you're saying it to the fans, you're saying retool, still competitive, instead of saying this is a complete teardown, we're rebuilding this thing.
Here's the thing, though. If you do what Chicago's done, this ownership doesn't want to lose that much money.
Absolutely.
And the difference between making and losing money for the Blues is making or not making the playoffs.
It's huge.
I don't think they can afford to go into season saying, we're only going to wind up with 68 points this year.
By the way, I want to make sure that I'm saying this right, I would not trade Colton Parayko. I would listen. Yeah, he's playing at the best level I've seen him play at in his career. When you look at the games that he almost played 27 minutes the other night on a back-to-back when he played 25 the night before and played at a great level. He's playing the best hockey of his career right now.
Thanks for your text. Coming up, more texts, and if you want to send a mic drop, what's your menu for Sunday before the NFC and AFC championship games or during? We've kind of given you ours, but what kind of food are you preparing on Sunday? I just unilaterally made a change to our show.
I was like, I literally just looked down at the rundown. I was like, excuse me?
We talked about it
what
early.
just happened?
We want to hear from you next on this Friday opening drive on 101 ESPN. In St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. This text to the Air Comfort Service text line from the 636. I'll be eating blackened raven on Sunday. I know I don't want to eat crow. Hashtag go Chiefs. We did that when the Falcons would come to town. We would have fried raven, fried chicken, but it was we had fried falcon back in the day. So yeah, raven would be a good thing to have for you Chiefs fans on Sunday.
Never had a raven.
Fried, tastes like chicken.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it?
I'll take your word for it, Randy.
Yeah, I don't think I want to try that one whatsoever.
From the 618, no doubter, smoked honey hot chicken wings.
Ooh.
Don't you think people just in general don't they just do their normal football fare? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You take it to another level, Randy, as you take many things to another level, but you have a theme for each Sunday for those particular games. So, which I love. I think it's great. I just think most, I don't know if I want to call them normal people, because you are exceptional. And you're not normal. You're way out there sometimes. You take it to a different level where other people are like, okay, the games are on. I'm going to make a pizza or make
nachos.
Nachos, chicken wings, the football fare.
Well, I use my Lindenwood education, Dan.
Maybe this explains it, too.
Yeah. So
for me, too.
I use the Google machine. So what are certain cities known for? For example, we mentioned the Fried Falcon with Atlanta. Coca-Cola, based in Atlanta. We would always have Coca-Cola. Some cities are hard. My favorite tailgates were New Orleans, because we'd make gumbo, we'd make jambalaya, we'd have barbecue
What'd you put in your gumbo?
Everything.
Yeah, just throw it all in there and have at it.
The key is, though, to be able to make a roux. And I would make a roux. And
What's a roux?
A roux is like a floury-based foundation for your gumbo.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now.
And that was really good. So, for San Francisco, for example. Now, I know that this is New England clam chowder, but San Francisco has great clam chowder, so I would make that. Like a shrimp salad is really good for San Francisco. Big game fudge for San Francisco is always really good. And then for a city like Kansas City, where they feel like they're famous for their barbecue, you get some lesser barbecue so that you could enjoy Kansas City. And then like Baltimore, crab cakes, right? So this weekend kind of sets up for itself.
So I'm concerned for Brooke. As she's talked about at the Missouri Athletic Club. She's working very hard to get in just this incredible shape for her wedding. And then you have this big day, this big football day. And Randy, you're talking about all these foods and bringing in Reese's footballs this morning. Brooke, I'm a little concerned for you in approaching this weekend.
Have one. Yeah, Dan, didn't you hear how persuasive he was this morning too?
Yes.
And I said, Randy, no, I don't need one. I love these, but I don't need one. And what did he say? Randy, break us down about how this is
the healthiest thing you could have.
Okay, and how is that?
Okay, so when I was growing up, you had the 4 food groups.
So I'm concerned for you, Brooke.
Now you have a ridiculous food pyramid, and I don't even know, and I'm not going to learn how the food pyramid works. But you've got your dairy with milk chocolate, do you not? You've got your protein with peanuts. Just like having steak. You've got, by the way, you've also got skim milk to help out with your dairy here. You have vegetable oil, right? So there's your fruits and vegetables. Mm-hmm. And then you've got flour. So you've got your starch. So all 4 food groups are present in a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup or a Reese's Peanut Butter Football.
Let me see that box you got here, Randy.
One of the healthiest things that you could have in life is Reese's.
Don't you dare look at it like nutritional.
Here, Matthew.
I'm not. I'm looking to see how many are in here.
I'm out.
It'll last the weekend.
Give me another one. No, I need another one. Thank you.
There you go.
So, Randy, there's probably
36, Dan.
36. Okay, it is January 26th with 36 of these in this box.
Yes, sir.
By the, let's see, 27, 28. So, okay, and by the end of the 28th, how many of those will be left?
Done.
It'll be done.
Gone.
Will it be spread out among family members, or this all you?
Friends here at the station. Yeah, no, not all me.
I thought you were. This is a solo mission.
Anyway, for your get together on Sunday, just a couple of more. Let me just refresh here so that we can get a couple of more texts. Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. That's a great call for the 49ers.
Rice-A-Roni?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, San Francisco treat.
That would be fun to have.
So somebody else is having rice-a-roni. The best dip for Super Bowl parties aside from buffalo, French onion, spinach, artichoke, or taco dip? Question mark. I would say the French onion dip for chips. I like French onion dip. You guys?
My wife makes an unbelievable spinach artichoke dip. So I'm all in. When she makes that, it's over.
I got to ask, tortilla chips, pita chips, like what are we doing here?
Anything.
With the spinach artichoke.
Put your finger in it.
Because the dip is what matters the most.
Exactly.
That it doesn't matter what you're dipping in there.
Fair enough. I like this one, Randy. I'll be fusing the regional specialties of the teams this weekend by making Detroit-style pizza with a sourdough crust for the NFC Championship game, and then making barbecue crab cakes for the AFC Championship game.
Well done. Thank you. Yeah.
I like the cut of this guy's jib.
Yeah. Don't you get full after the first go-around, Randy?
Well, you've got an early game, so you do pregame for early and then halftime of the second game. So it's
early is
lunch
what?
and dinner.
What time is the game this weekend?
2:00 for the first game.
St. Louis time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the second game starts at 5:30. So you have like a 1:30 and then 7:00.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Doesn't it make you a little uncomfortable, guys, when you eat that much and you're sitting on the couch and you're like, man, I ate too much. I'm not enjoying the game.
You know what I do,
ate too much.
You know what I do, though? I go grab another nacho or wing.
Yeah, and just
go
say the hell
ahead.
with it.
Oh, and we should note, by the way, and I don't know if the orders are full, but if you want awesome wings, just call our friends at Fenton Bar and Grill. Go and pick some up. They've got them to go for Sunday.
Randy, do you do the spots for them?
I do, yeah. I had lunch at Fenton Bar and Grill yesterday.
Did you? What'd you have?
I had it's a BBBB, or as I say it, bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
Bacon, lettuce, and tomato from
Fenton Bar and Grill.
Yeah, okay.
It was delicious.
Good, okay.
So, yeah, that's what I had.
What's the special today? I know you probably... Do you have a spot coming up later, or is this...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If I don't, I'll tell you what the special is later. All right.
It's a secret.
Maybe not.
Go ahead and tell them the special now.
You know what? I would have to look it up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good.
But
I thought that maybe in the mornings that you just knew the special. They send it to you first thing in the morning.
You know, the funny thing is I know the specials like for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't know why I don't know on Friday, but
I don't think you ever do the reads on Friday. That's why.
That might be it. So there you have it. That's your fresh take here on 101 ESPN. Fresh food. Sunday.
Yeah.
NFC, AFC championship.
Intake a lot of food.
Yeah. Our buddy Joe Vitale is next. We're going to find out what his menu is for Sunday. And by the way,
we're talking a lot of sports this morning. I like it.
Yeah, Joey is a good menu guy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
So he's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, folks, I want you to know about Ambassador Floor at ambassadorfloor.com. This is Randy, and your floors are the first thing people see when they walk into your home. Other than your walls, and you can paint them, your floors take up the most space in the home. Can you imagine how new floors would dramatically change the look of your home? Seamlessly connecting every room with style, and you can do that at Ambassador Floor. Since most people replace their floors every 7 to 10 years, I'd suggest you do it right and visit Ambassador Midwest Floor. Don't settle for cheap floors from the box stores. Ambassador Midwest Floor displays the largest selection, so you can choose from the latest floor styles that are pet-friendly, stain-proof and waterproof technology, and you can celebrate the new year with new floors. Browse the finest collection of Shaw floors, hardwood, carpet, luxury plank at Ambassador Midwest Floor, and save up to $500 on all Shaw floors during their New Year New Floor sale. Do it yourself or get the finest installation from their employee team of over 100 master craftsmen certified in the latest flooring technology. Love your floors and experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. Learn more at ambassadorfloor.com.
Mitsubishi Electric Elite Contractor.
Joey V is with Brooke and Dan and Randy on 101 ESPN. Good morning, Joe Vitale. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Randy. It's a Friday morning. I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Everything's good. Okay, I've been talking about my menu for Sunday before the AFC and NFC championship games. I like to make food that is indigenous to the city, and I'm a clam chowder guy for San Francisco. So tell me your feelings about clam chowder, and do you have a favorite?
Ooh, yeah. Listen, clam chowder, I'm a big fan of. I spent 4 years in Boston at Northeastern University, and there was a place up there called Legal Seafood. Have you heard of this?
I've been there.
Okay, so you've been there. Legal Seafood, and I was new to Boston, and I remember I stopped off at Legal Seafood my freshman year, and I had this bowl of clam chowder. I'm walking into Legal thinking, okay, I found the spot. This clam chowder is lights out, and so I go there my whole freshman year, and then I ended up taking my parents out and some of my teammates, the locals to Boston. They wanted to go to dinner. My parents were like, hey, grab some of your buddies, let's go to dinner. I'm like, Mom, Dad, I got it covered. I got the greatest seafood spot in Boston. It's just down the street from us. We're going to Legal Seafood. And they're like, perfect. So I grabbed some of my buddies and hey, Joe V, where are we going tonight with the folks? And they're excited because my parents are paying for the bill. That's how college kids are. And I go, guys, I got the spot. We're going to Legal Seafood. You should have seen the face of disgust when I said we're going. Apparently, Legal Seafood up in Boston's like going to the Olive Garden if you love Italian.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't know that. And then I found out later it's like a chain. There's hundreds of them, and now it's nationwide. So here I was the whole time thinking this is a one stop mom and pop shop. They're doing everything right, and it turns out that it was a pretty big chain. It's still great, don't get me wrong, but now I've learned to do a little bit more research. There's an oyster house in Boston, in the North End, in all seriousness, now that has probably the best seafood. It's just tough to get into. But listen, Randy, I'm all for the clam chowder. Big fan. You feel it afterwards. It doesn't sit well for a couple of days, but it's definitely one of the best.
So what are your non-negotiables for your game day menu? If you're sitting down to watch a game, what do you have to have there?
Oh, my gosh. I think nowadays, Brooke, just a cup of coffee. I mean, just something to get me through the day. I mean, I don't know. I would say a cup of coffee and just maybe one free hand to eat something. I don't know. I'm pretty simple these days, but I've always felt good about sitting down and just having some sort of nachos for football. It's kind of our thing at our house, and the kids obviously get involved and they make them. They, of course, load up the cheese, and then it breaks out into a fight, usually a couple minutes in, because with so much cheese, it's all like sticking together, and they're like sharing from the platter. And one knucklehead on my end will just grab one, and then they end up taking half the plate because it's all stuck together, and then they all start yelling at each other. But then the one's got the argument, well, it's like it's still one nacho because it's stuck together. So that usually when it breaks out, and then mom and dad got to be referees. But to answer your question, I mean, I haven't sat down and watched a football game from start to finish. I don't even know how long. I can't even get through 5 minutes without breaking up a fight or wiping someone's bottom these days. But it's all great, and certainly looking forward to this weekend.
Joey,
go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, I was just going to turn to the Blues a little bit. Those are two pretty darn good wins. The comeback win in Calgary and then staving off the Canucks the other night. Those were two impressive wins by the Blues.
Yeah, they were. I mean, this team, it's a funny group. It's a really funny group to watch. I've had the pleasure of watching them in depth for the last 6 years, and they go down stretches like this. And what do I mean by they're funny? They're funny because you get out-chanced badly in Vancouver. I mean, badly. I mean, I told that Alex the other day, we were talking about this and laughing about it, but if you were to show me the stat line after that Vancouver game, if you were to show 100 people the stat line after that Vancouver game and say, tell me who wins this game, I mean, 99 out of 100 would say, okay, that's Vancouver's win, no doubt. They were out-chanced. They were out-attempted. They were out-hit. The Blues had 16 turnovers in the D zone. I mean, it's just all the things did not add up, right? And then, of course, you win the game. And that's kind of the Blues' way through a lot of stretches the last few years, especially with the goaltending they're getting. And that's what really stands out about this team is they're getting great goaltending. And when you're getting good goaltending early on, like we saw for Joel Hofer, you can outpatient a team. You can get an early save. You can give your team a little bit of belief, put a little bit of doubt in the other squad, and then take advantage of opportunities. So that's something that really stands out. It was a resilient win. Of course, in Calgary, being down by 2 goals, the Blues shorthanded side of things continues to propel them in a lot of great ways. Another good shorthanded goal for Braden Shen, who's on a 3-game goal streak right now, who was a little bit slow there for a while midseason. So, again, good teams right now finding different ways to win games. But yeah, it is. It's quite an anomaly sometimes when you look at these teams and how they're winning games. But I keep going back to goaltending. Right now we're getting terrific goaltending. We saw it in Vancouver. And it's no dig at Jacob Markstrom, but I think that he got out goaltended that game. Jordan Binnington was stellar in Calgary. Jacob Markstrom was certainly sharp early, but then his game really fell off. So, and he's been known to have some games fall off on him against the St. Louis Blues, and goaltending to me has been the number one reason why the Blues are 2-0 on this road trip and looking to make it a perfect road trip against the Kraken here tonight.
Joey, when you're watching a game and fans are watching along with you, when do you know that Binnington is right? Not just looking at, he made 14 saves in the period, but what do you see from the player's point of view in your eyes that you know that this guy is locked in for the night?
It's not necessarily making that first save, Dan, to answer your question. It's just kind of seeing how the trend goes. But there's always one save in the game. And I usually will say it on the broadcast, or like I've been doing the last couple of games for Bally, and I'll mark a save. I think it was a save on Gilbert he made versus the Calgary Flames. It was in the third period. I think the Blues were down 3-2. And there's like a big moment. You just feel it, right? You feel the tension. Maybe the team's starting to make a push, and you just know something big is going to happen. And all of a sudden, I think it was Gilbert who came down point blank and snap one, and Bennington made a glove save. And you look at the reaction of the player who shot it. You look at the reaction of the bench. You feel the energy in the building if you're on the road kind of drop, or the energy rise if you're at home. And it's just that kind of turning point save. And so certainly in Calgary, that was the moment. Joel Hofer, of course, made some terrific ones. I think it was on Elias Pettersson on the short side when they were, I believe, 1 goal away, and eventually they end up tying it and we're going to an overtime. But, then you found it in overtime when he makes the glove save on the breakaway, then he dishes it off, and moments later, Braden Shen scores the goal. So I would say it's not any particular time in the game. It's just the big moment where you just need a huge save, but certainly – especially for Bennington, it really does stand out just about every single game when the Blues are getting wins, and it still has been the biggest difference maker for this team.
Joey, because you are so knowledgeable and curious and you pay attention to stuff, I want you to weigh in on a discussion we've had here. I grew up with the 4 food groups, and this morning when I came in, there was a box of Reese's Footballs waiting for me, and the 4 food groups are a starch, a protein, dairy, and a fruit or vegetable. Well, the Reese's Football, right off the bat, you've got peanuts, that's a protein. You've got skim milk, that's dairy. You've got vegetable oil, that's vegetable. And then, of course, the peanuts provide, and flour provides the starch. I argue, tell me that I'm wrong, that all 4 food groups are present in the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, or in this case, the Reese's Peanut Butter Football.
Hey, listen, technically you're bang on. I think you rock with it. I think you have to go with it. So you had the 4 food groups. I grew up with the pyramid. Now that's different, correct?
It is, yeah. I don't agree with the pyramid because it doesn't fit my narrative.
Okay, yeah. So the pyramid would kibosh it. The pyramid, I speak on behalf of, because the bottom, if you remember the pyramid, the bottom's just bread. It's just a foundation of bread and like pasta and rice and grains and cereal and oats and just lots of bread. So I'm like, you know what? This makes sense to me. So I'm gonna rock with this one. So Brady, I think it's kind of whatever you grew up with, whatever fits your narrative, I guess is the best way, like you said. To put it, the game has changed a ton. I'll never forget when I was at the pediatrician. I was like 10 years old. I still remember this. And my mom, God bless her, I'm one of 6. And, we used to hit McDonald's and fast food joints. We were a casserole family. We had 8 mouths to feed. My dad worked late. And, she was asking about diet. I'll never forget the pediatrician. I'm not going to give you his name because he may still be practicing. But he's like, McDonald's? Fine. Listen, you got a burger, right? The meat, protein, ketchup, that's a vegetable. You got the bun, there's your carb, and the cheese is dairy. Marianne, you're doing fine. Keep it up. I'm thinking I'm 10 years old. This doesn't sound right, but I'm going to still go with it because I love myself a good old Happy Meal. But at the end of the day, Randy, here you are talking to me. Here I am talking to you. Dan and Brooke, we're all here talking together. We never made the healthiest food choices in our lifetime, so what is right? What is wrong? I don't know. Who knows anymore?
Yeah, as long as I always tell people, the last thing I ever eat is going to be good.
That's right, and hopefully hopefully for me at least, it's a carrot cake that is fresh off the Traeger grill from Randy Carrot.
That's coming your way. I've actually been looking at the Blues schedule.
You've been saying it's coming his way for a long time, Randy.
Joey, the schedule has been so weird. Joey, I don't want to have it be a situation where I bring you a carrot cake at a hockey game and then you're flying the next day. I want to, right? That's fair, isn't it?
It's 100% fair. And you know what, Randy? I feel for you. Whenever you master something or come close to master something and you want to give it, you have to be prepared to get more flack than praise. I mean, that's every now and then I'll bring a loaf of bread to someone and I'll go home so defeated. I'm like, and my wife's like, what's wrong? It's like, well, I got 18 people upset at me because I brought 2 loaves of bread to 2 different people, and that's how it is with the carrot cake. I mean, you brought that carrot cake into the booth a couple times, and people are looking and scratching their heads, and they're mad at you. They're mad at me because I don't share my carrot cake. Like, I eat half of it on the way home after a game because usually that's when I stress eat, and then I save the other half for my kids the next morning. So I don't like to share my carrot cake. So you're going to hurt more feelings probably at the end of the day than you hope for, but certainly it's a worthy cause, I think, and I'm ready for it. Listen, this belly is ready for Randy Carrot or carrot cake whenever you're ready for it.
All right. Hey, we'll be tuned in tonight. You're on Bally, right? Pre intermissions and post game, right?
Yeah, we're on the pre-intermission and post tonight. It's Alexa, and then Jamal Mayers is with me. So we got a three-man desk. We're going to break down some shorthanded goals in the pregame show. So make sure you tune in there. And Chris Kerber will be on the call with Cam Jansen tonight. Bam, bam, Cam.
All right, love it. Joey, we love you. Thanks, brother. Have a good weekend.
You guys, we'll be talking here next week.
You bet. That's the great Joe Vitale with us on 101 ESPN. See, it's whatever fits your narrative. That's what you got to go with. McDonald's burger. That doctor made all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, and now everybody wants your carrot cake, Randy. Carrot's carrot cake. So, but with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, you're not giving it to anybody else. Let's go.
No, you're getting it.
You've been saying that for weeks.
You're getting it. Rivs is getting it. Joey's getting it.
Can I get on the list?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I felt left out there for a little bit.
And Matthew's had one before, but we'll get back. See, that's the thing. I got a busy day on the Traeger coming up.
You do.
But it's fun.
You've been around, you know.
I have. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, Matthew, do we need a fighter?
Indeed.
All right. So if you want to fight, here's the thing that you need to do. You need to text in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO, with your name and the word fight, and maybe Matthew will pick you to fight against me next on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you come home and we've had the cold weather and you see rust on your gutters, I want you to get in touch with my friends at gutterpros.com. They do such amazing work. They're St. Louis's #1 gutter company, and water goes where Gutter Pros tells it to go. If you are looking at your gutters and they just aren't attractive, you need new ones, well, they'll come out from Gutter Pros. They'll provide you a free estimate, and then they aren't going to pressure you. They're going to say, okay, here's what we'll put up for you. And we can do soffit and fascia if you want. And we've got our 4.9 out of 5 stars on our reviews, and we're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Here's the price, and here's what we'll deliver. And then they'll say, if you want it, give us a call back. If you don't, we get it, but we know you want to think about it. At Gutter Pros, they cover an area about 50 miles around their downtown office. They're great St. Louis people, a great St. Louis company, and they've done gutters for residences and companies throughout the St. Louis metro area, and they're the best in town. Randy recommends them, and I hope that when you need new gutters that you get in touch with Gutter Pros. You can set that appointment today at gutterpros.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues back in action tonight, facing off against the Seattle Kraken. 9 p.m. puck drop. You can catch the pregame show right here on 101 ESPN, starting at 8 p.m. Also coming up on 101 ESPN this weekend, we will have the NFC Championship game between the 49ers and the Lions. Kickoff set for 5:30. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent America's heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke Grimsley here alongside Danny Mac, Brady Carricker, Matthew Rocchio, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Kevin. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Are you excited? Is this your first time facing Randy in the fight?
The first time to be humiliated in public. I have been humiliated many times in private.
No. We believe in you, Kevin. Right, Dan?
Absolutely. You're going to do well. We're pulling for you, so good luck.
All right, thanks.
Okay, you ready for question number 1, Kevin?
Bring it.
With the Lions' appearance this weekend in the NFC Championship game, there are now 2 NFC teams who haven't played in their conference title game in this century. The Cowboys and who else? Is it the Washington Commanders, Chicago Bears, or the Arizona Cardinals?
The Bears are always a good bet. We'll go with the Bears. Final answer.
Okay, question 2. What was the first year the NFL implemented challenges? 1997, 1998, or 1999?
1999.
Is that your final answer, Kevin?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, why not is right.
Why not? There you go. Which was the last team that Wayne Gretzky played for? Is it the New York Rangers, Edmonton Oilers, or the New York Islanders?
Last one I remember was the Rangers. We'll go with that.
And question 3, who was the first pure place kicker to be elected to the Hall of Fame? George Blanda, Lou Groza, or Jan Stenerud?
Well, pure place kicker. I know Blanda played quarterback. Stenerud, and what was the other one?
Lou Groza.
Lou Groza. I think Lou Groza.
Is that your final answer, sir?
Yes, let's say it is.
Okay.
If it's wrong, then I might want to change it.
All right. How you feeling about this fight, Kevin?
Well, I'm feeling as good as I ever feel going up against Randy.
Have you done this before? I didn't understand if you had.
No, only at home, only in private.
Oh, okay.
And, my record is not that good.
Well, that's all right. Thanks for playing. Thanks for listening. I just stole Randy's line as he puts on the headsets and say hello to Kevin.
Kevin, good morning. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm great. It's nice to go up against you for the first time in person. I've been listening to you for decades.
Welcome, and thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And I've been around for decades.
I was going to say, does that make you old, Randy?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
We both have.
Oh, you two are young at heart. God bless you both.
That's the key.
There you go.
Thank you, Kevin.
You ready for question number 1, Randy?
Ready, Brooke.
With the Lions' appearance this weekend in the NFC Championship game, there are now 2 NFC teams who haven't played in their conference title game this century. The Cowboys and who else?
How about them Cowboys? Who else? Let's see. The Falcons played in 90. Oh, the Falcons played in the Super Bowl in this century. So Falcons, Saints, Bucks, Panthers all have. Rams have. Niners have. Cardinals have in 2008. Seahawks have. So that's half of the conference. The Lions have not. Now, they don't count, do they? Because they're going to? The Lions are not part of the answer,
yes,
right?
It said at the beginning with the Lions appearance this weekend.
With the Lions appearance. Okay, so you've got Giants have been in the Super Bowl. Here you go. You've got your do 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 fight for old DC. It's the Washington Redskins / football team / Commanders.
Is that your final answer, Randy? Okay. What was the first year the NFL implemented challenges? The first year.
First year for challenges.
That's
Dan.
right.
I believe that would be
when they throw a flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the challenge flag. I think, Dan, that was when the Rams won Super Bowl 34. I believe that year was 1999. 1999 is what I'm going to go with.
Are you satisfied with that answer?
Yeah, it is my final answer.
Question 3, please.
There we go. Which was the last team that Wayne Gretzky played for?
I don't think people realize how good Wayne Gretzky was for the Rangers. And even in his last year, it was the New York Hockey Rangers.
Randall, who is the first pure place kicker to be elected to the Hall of Fame?
Is Jan Stenerud considered a pure place kicker?
He is.
Okay, then I'll go with Jan Stenerud, sir. For a long time, until Morton Anderson, I believe.
Oh, you
Stenerud
betcha.
Was the only kicker in the Hall of Fame. But then Morton Anderson, I guess they're going to put Vinatieri in eventually.
He's getting in.
Justin Tucker has to be in the Hall of Fame, doesn't he?
He doesn't miss. He won't miss this weekend.
No, he won't. So I'm going to go with Jan, Jan Stenerud, who kicked for the Chiefs and the Packers.
That would be Stenerud.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. I just want to make sure we had Stenerud right.
And the first punter, by the way, to be in the Hall of Fame, Ray Guy.
That's right. Your guy.
Hell of a guy.
Only punter in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Let's have a winner in today's fight. Okay. Now, Randy lost one time last week, but he's trying to finish off a clean sweep for this week. So was he able to do it? Does he have a new streak going? Or does Kevin throw off Megamind on a Friday? Ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
I'm sorry, Kevin. You heard Mr. Buck there, and that means that Randy Carricker got all 4. He beat you 4-2 today.
Well, it's always good to hear Jack's voice.
There you go. That's a great way. That's a great way to think about it. With the Lions' appearance this weekend in the NFC Championship game, there are now 2 NFC teams who haven't played the conference title game this century. It's the Cowboys and Randy, exactly as it is written on the sheet here. Washington Redskins / football team / Commanders is the correct answer. The first year the NFL implemented challenges was, in fact, 1999. You know the first year they used instant replay?
94?
You're incorrect, so I might put on on the fight in like 3 or 4 weeks. Just don't do any research on that. Which was the last team that Wayne Gretzky played for? It was the last 3 years of his career. He played for the New York Rangers, and the first pure place kicker to be elected to the Hall of Fame is in fact Jan Stenerud. Lou Groza played offensive tackle for the majority of his career, as well as being a kicker, and of course George Bland a quarterback.
And what was Lou Groza's nickname? Everybody. Lou the Toe Groza.
Oh, the Toe. Which is funny because he gets the nickname the Toe, but he considered himself an offensive lineman who could kick, not a kicker who played offensive lineman.
Right.
So it's weird that you get the nickname that way.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show today.
All right. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Have a wonderful weekend. Kevin with us on 101 ESPN.
It was our pleasure.
It was.
I love people that have, tried to get in for a long time and finally got the opportunity. But then it's very nice that people listen for a long time. I do truly appreciate that.
You have a huge fan base, Randy. Long time. You've been doing this a long time. I consider myself a fan.
Well,
a co-worker, I guess, but I'm a big fan of your work.
Well, thank you, Daniel.
You bet, buddy.
Coming up here on 101 ESPN, They Said What? Is coming your way here on the opening drive.
about, man?
What you talking about?
What the hell are you talking about?
What you talking about?
Do you actually listen to yourself when you speak, or do you find you drift in and out?
What you talking about?
Well, I'm out, man.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke Grimsley here alongside Randy Carricker, Danny Mac, and Matthew Rocchio. And it is time for our new segment, which is called They Said What? So basically in this segment, we go over some of the big trending sound that is happening on social media, typically sports related. And there is a sound that's going around right now surrounding Jared Goff. Now, Jared Goff, I don't know if you guys have really paid attention to a lot of his press conferences here lately, but I like the Detroit version of Jared Goff. He's really funny. It seems like he's allowed to showcase his personality more. And he had a pretty funny exchange this week with a reporter. Have you ever gotten somebody who has given you a compliment, but then they also kind of give you a non-compliment in the same sentence? That's basically what happened with this reporter. And here's their funny exchange that they had.
Jared Goff's got a lot of really good players, obviously, but maybe not.
Oh, thank you.
What's that?
I said thank you.
You're welcome. Maybe not viewed, though, as the superstars like maybe the 49ers have or others.
All right, never mind.
But I mean, guys like St. Brown and getting you.
Yep, St. Brown was first team All-Pro, so.
Right.
So was Panay. Sorry, continue. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. But do you feel like this is a chance for more?
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. Yes, I do. I think we've got a ton of great players who maybe haven't had the national stage that up to this point that a lot of other guys have, and obviously they have a ton of good players as well, and a ton of Pro Bowlers and All-Pro players over there, and we feel like we've got a lot of good players too, though, like you mentioned, and excited to play on another national stage and be able to showcase that.
I didn't miss any, did I?
No, you got it. All good.
He handled that really well, and it was just a really funny exchange. He was laughing and smiling the whole time because I think that he knew what the reporter was leading to. He knows all the storylines that are around this about where people want to give. I feel like him and Brock Purdy could have a great conversation about how people want to give them credit, but not full credit for the success that they've had this season. And it's just been a storybook season for Goff and the Lions. I just really like the way that he handled that whole exchange.
And the relationship between players and the media has changed so much, and there's not many players that do have fun with the media. So that's a cool thing to see too. And part of it is the relationships that were developed when I was doing that, when I was covering a team. You could go in and talk to players, and now they bring the players to the media, a select group of players, so you never really get a chance you don't get a chance to have a real personal conversation with athletes anymore. So it's cool. Clearly, those two know each other, right? And Goff has a relationship with that reporter, and that is a benefit to both.
We want to see these great sides of the players and the personalities that are involved and who they are, but yet when a player does that, then sometimes they get killed for things that they say or what they, these guys are so robotic and they're pros that when someone goes outside the box, like, whoa, what's wrong with this guy? He's doing fun. This. Yeah. And it's sometimes I think it's taken the wrong way. And it's tough to be an athlete in that regard. Everything else is great for the most part. Money's great, adulation, playing on big stages, playing a game that you love. Mm-hmm. But, man, sometimes the media can take it too far and expose things that you don't want out there, and that becomes a problem.
And I love everything about this guy. I mean, he's a California guy. The Rams throw him to the curb. He's playing in a championship game. He's a really good quarterback. He's, by all accounts, a really good guy.
Man.
Has taken to Detroit. Detroit loves him, and he loves Detroit. So I really am a fan of Jared Goff.
I am too.
I like everything about the Lions this year. Dan Campbell, huge fan of him. The rookies, of course, you have the St. Louis connections on that team. And Jared Goff, like you were saying, Randy, the fact that this has been a redemption for him, everything that happened with him on the West Coast comes to Detroit, and it felt like, remember, the narrative was that he was just going to be a bridge guy.
Right.
Somebody just get them through for maybe a season or two, and then they would move on to another quarterback. But he deserves a lot of credit, too, for the Lions' success this season. So the next soundbite, of course, we know the big news this week, Jim Harbaugh making his return to the NFL, and everybody is looking at this rivalry now that you have between Jim Harbaugh and his brother John, because everybody wants to see this competition play out between the two. Now an old interview with John Harbaugh has resurfaced from 2019 with Pardon My Take, where he talks about really how intense the sibling rivalry is.
Do you ever look at your brother, like, just catch him and, like, he knows that you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing about it. Like over the years, I mean, well, you know how it is. You guys got brothers.
Yeah,
right?
right.
So over the years, there were times when I kicked his butt pretty good. And there were plenty of times, probably more than he kicked my butt, because he's kind of a big guy, especially when it got to the point when he got a little lower. So we were 25, and he was the head coach he was the quarterback for the Bears, got his first big contract, got paid, and took us all on a vacation down to Amelia Island, and it was great. It was nice. 4th of July, paid for everything. It got us out on the beach one day, and I'm really being grateful. I'm thinking, you know what, he's kind of turned the corner here a little bit. This is pretty cool. And we get out there, we're building a sandcastle with the kids, and next thing you know, he starts we kind of work our way out into the water. As waves are coming, big waves are coming, and we're wrestling. He throws a single leg into my right leg as hard as he can. So I sprawl, full sprawl, cross face, right to his nose as hard as I can. Just smash him right in the face. Or he's strong. He stakes the thing, picks me up, and takes me to the bottom of the deal. Like Sam. All right. I mean, I don't know if it was like a minute, but it seemed like 20 minutes. I'm thinking this is going to be it. He snapped. He's gone. I've lost him. And he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life, but it's not going to help me.
His brother,
I'm done, So he let me up finally. And once I got my breath, he kind of gave me just what you just did.
Right.
He gave me the old, all right, bro.
I know, you know.
Yeah, we know where it stands.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I had to live with that, for the next 23 years, okay, until the Super Bowl.
And now every now and then he gives you that look.
How many times do you think that Jim Harbaugh has thought about that interview and everything that John just released there? But I really like that he thought that maybe finally the intensity of their rivalry has calmed down. And no, it has not. It turned into a sand war, basically, on a beach on a nice family vacation.
And just go back to his interview right after Michigan won the championship. Now I can sit at the table with my brother and my dad. And that a big part of the reason that he isn't the head coach of Michigan anymore is because he wants to one up. He wants to have the college championship and the Super Bowl so that he can win that sibling rivalry.
How many times have those guys fought over the years? Can you imagine? The bruises, the egos. That's
great.
But they made, you know what? That's going to be cool is that they meet each other next year. Yeah. So you have the reigning national champion. You could have the reigning Super Bowl champion facing off. Has that ever happened before?
No.
In coaches?
Yeah,
no coach has ever left college after winning the year of winning a championship. No coach has ever gone the year of winning to the NFL.
So Switzer, when he went to the Cowboys, had he been out for a while?
For a few years, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That'd be interesting. That'd be fun.
It really will. And I know it's going to be talked about a million times, but I'm not going to get tired of this sibling rivalry and how it's going to be talked about because just hearing how intense that they are. Do you think that even maybe after a game, they would call each other and say, "Why did you do that?"
Oh, yeah.
Just throw it in each other's face?
Sure. Yep. Yeah. By the way, I was just trying to play the NFL script game. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl again, is there any doubt that the Chargers at Kansas City is the season opener?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it's got to be. Because you want Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh on national television for sure. And I don't know if you guys agree. San Diego is not that far off. When you have a QB like that and the way that they had played the previous 2 years, there were some winnable games until the very end of this year when Staley was fired. Then they were getting blown out. But prior to that, they had some tight football games that they could have won. This team is not that far away
if they
at
get
all.
Rid of Mike Williams, and I know this sounds controversial because Khalil Mack is 33 and Bosa's 27. But I cut Bosa because he never plays. Or trade Bosa.
You crazy.
And that's how you get under the cap.
Said, what?
They're $40 million under the cap. But you could also cut Khalil Mack and say, okay, we got the best. He had a career year.
He had a great year. Great year.
But those two, if you get rid of Williams, because I don't think you get rid of Keenan Allen, maybe you restructure Keenan Allen, get rid of Williams and either Bosa or Mack, I think that gets you pretty close to under the cap.
No way. I would not do that.
No, I agree with you.
Got to keep them. Got to figure out another way. Well, I don't know what it is, but I'm figuring out another way.
35-man roster.
Yeah, I'd go with that as long as I can keep Khalil Mack.
There you go. That's Dan, Randy, and I'm Brooke. Coming up, 2 prominent NFL head coaching names are still left standing, including one considered by many, except for one person in this room, one of the greatest coaches of all time. We'll see maybe where they will land. We'll discuss that coming up next here on 101
Joe
ESPN.
Gibbs is going to coach again?
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you about why I love the Metrolink so much. One, I love to support public transportation. I think it's something that it's very vital to the city for people who ride it, and even those who don't ride it. It's something that attracts a lot of big businesses, Fortune 500 companies, and I even use the Metrolink myself. It was so easy to do. It just took me right over to Enterprise Center for a Blues game, and I really enjoyed it. It was just $5 for an all-day pass, Randy.
And Brooke, if you already like the Metro, you'll love it once you know what the difference it makes in all of our communities. If you have a negative perception, think about the quantifiable positive difference Metro continues to make on both sides of the river in helping bring Fortune 500 companies to our area so that people can get to work easier. And even if you don't use it yourself, there are a lot of reasons to recommend a Metro to others. It really is a great St. Louis, valuable institution. Having great public transportation makes a city great, and it's a part of why we, as a St. Louis region, can return to greatness. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
The biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
It is 9:05 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. The Blues are taking on the Seattle Kraken tonight. 8 o'clock pregame, 9 o'clock faceoff here on 101 ESPN. Chris Kerber and Cam Jansen will have the call. Cam in for Joey Vitale, who will be doing pregame and postgame and intermissions for Bally Sports. So Blues and Kraken tonight, and then the Blues back in action against the Kings. Noon pregame on Sunday, and then a 1 o'clock faceoff. And then we'll have the Niners-Lions game at 5:30 on Sunday as well.
You know, Joey was talking about the compete level of the Blues and how they're playing more of a 60-minute game. So I went back and looked at this. Under Berube, 28 games, not a single win when trailing after one or two periods. They've done that already 6 times in 17 games since he was let go. It just felt like when they were behind early, they were not going to come back. And it does have a different feel right now with this team. For whatever reason, it does feel if they're down early, they have a chance to get back.
I don't doubt, though, that maybe the message was exactly the same from Craig Berube to Drew Bannister. I think it's just a different messenger, and that somehow is resonating a little bit better with these guys. Even, of course, I haven't seen Drew Bannister behind closed doors, but it seems like even when you hear him in his post-game, pre-game comments, his temperament is a little bit different maybe than Craig Berube's, and something that the younger players might resonate with more.
The power play has gotten a lot better, and that's something that has made a difference on the ice as opposed to just messages, but what's happening, something tangible, and it's the power play. They're 8th right now in the NHL under Bannister since he took over, 24%. That's a big difference with this team.
So let's go Blues. Football, there are only 2 openings left in the National Football League. The Atlanta Falcons have hired Raheem Morris as their new head coach, former Buccaneers coach. The Panthers hired Dave Canales as their new coach. So now you only have 2 openings remaining. The Washington Commanders are one of those, and they appear to be zeroing in on Ben Johnson. And Seattle is the other one. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. And then the other one is Seattle. And I don't have a feel for what the Seahawks are looking for or what they're going to do.
No, maybe Mike Vrabel, but then again, are they just going to do what everybody else is doing with the coordinator route?
I would look at Mike Vrabel. If he's still out there, why wouldn't you take a hard look at him?
But here's the thing, Brooke, you talked about some of the things that were said by players, Wesley Woodyard coming out, right? But because John Schneider, the general manager of the Seahawks, said in his media availability after they got rid of Carroll, we want to maintain the fun culture that Pete Carroll instilled here.
I don't think that it's a coincidence that Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick are the two that are left standing, because I think a lot of these teams, by hiring in coordinators, that a lot of them are not taking over that role of roster development. If you look with the Titans, Rand Carthon, that was one of the big announcements, is that now he will be in full control of the roster moving forward. Mike Vrabel had more of a say. And if you go back and look at the history, a lot of people were talking about this in Nashville. That was something that caused a lot of friction. Mike Vrabel had a different vision of how he wanted things to go in the future. Rand Carthon and Amy, the owner of the Titans, Amy Strong, she had a different view of where they were going to go. And they just really butted heads on that. So if you're a team that you still want to make sure that your GM has control, whoever you want the vision to be moving forward, do you take a head coach like a Vrabel or a Bill Belichick, where they would want more of control of that roster and possibly are known for butting heads more with your possible vision?
Isn't it so weird that you have a national championship head coach and a big personality in Jim Harbaugh, and he gets the new job within 24 hours of what we're talking about here, and it's kind of like, no big deal. It was expected.
Mm-hmm.
This is totally just a given. If you would have had other coaches that jumped after winning the national title like this, there'd be all kinds of news made for it. And it's just like, to me, it just wasn't that big a deal, because it was like a foregone conclusion this was going to happen.
Right. At some point, 3 straight years of interviewing with the NFL. And
you know what I'm saying, though, with that? And he's such a big personality, and it's like no big deal.
Right. But I think it'll wind up being a bigger deal once we see him in the powder blue and yellow.
Yeah.
By the way, the Seahawks are interviewing Dan Quinn for a second time today. They know Quinn because he was their defensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl. That seems to make the most sense to me, is the guy they know, that John Schneider knows. If they're having him in for a second interview, that tells me that perhaps he'll get the job.
They were 25th in points against last year. Dan Quinn did a very nice job with the Cowboys outside of what happened in the playoffs. And with his past history there, it would make a lot of sense that he would be the guy to fill that spot. We'll see, but it does make some sense. And a lot of times you bring a guy in for a second interview, it seems like that's where you're going. You're going in that direction.
Yep.
And the Panthers, that's still the job that I'm surprised got filled, but then I'm not surprised by who got the role. And Dave Canales, he deserves a lot of credit for what he did with Baker Mayfield. Even back to the Seahawks days, he's credited for really helping Geno Smith and his development as a quarterback. But that's a job where it's really tough going in there, because as I just mentioned, you kind of hope that even if your owner and your GM are in control of things, that it's still a collaborative environment. It doesn't seem that that's the case based off of the history of the Panthers, that it's a collaborative environment with that owner.
No, the owner is a weirdo, a football weirdo. I don't know if he's he did throw ice at fans, or a drink at fans, so maybe he's a weirdo. But it seems like he owns like a fan would. He's just really impatient. You know how we always get after 5 games of DFA somebody, DFA your best player. That's what the owner appears to be.
It's incredible. I mean, and he threw, a soda on fans and got, $250,000 fine. Okay. I mean, that's terrible. That's a terrible look for the league. It's a terrible look for their franchise, and the way that he's gone through his coaches. You wouldn't want to work for that guy.
Yeah, and by the way, a $250,000 fine, somebody did the math. It was like 13 cents for the person that makes $100,000 a year.
But it's just a bad look. And you're mentioning the head coach firings. The first team in NFL history with 3 mid-season head coach firings in a 5-season span.
He seems impatient. Mr. Tepper does.
My thing about Dave Tepper is, if you're the fan he threw the drink at, how do you not have a press conference with a neck brace on, within a 12-hour span?
Right.
Like, I'm in front of cameras with a neck brace, like, I was assaulted by Mr. Tepper. This is going to affect and change my livelihood. I mean, chase the bag. Come on, people.
I'm with you. I am with you. So, with you is when Bob Costas and Isaiah Thomas were doing the finals in 97-98. Michael and Scotty are together, and they just had this great nonverbal communication, and they're going to a break, and it's a highlight of Scotty making a pass to Michael, and Isaiah says, "That's just Michael saying to Scotty, I'm with you.
I'm with you.
I am with you."
Yeah.
That's so good.
There you have it. That's your Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN. Coming up, as the NFL Conference Championship games approach, who are the non-quarterback X factors for the weekend? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN. I talked to you a lot about Gutter Pros and what they can do for you in your home. They can provide you a real upgrade for your gutters. Sometimes you see water coming over your gutters on the side. It's not supposed to work that way, kids. It's supposed to be that the water goes down the downspout. And at Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it. So if you go to gutterpros.com and set up an appointment with them, they'll come out and they'll know exactly what the perfect gutters for your home are. And they do so much more than just gutters. They have the capability of doing soffit and fascia. They'll do leaf protection for your gutters. And whether it's your home or your business, they can do huge commercial gutters, 8, 9, and 10-inch industrial-size box gutters for large warehouse-style buildings, regardless of the profile. So whether you need gutters for your business or your home, gutterpros.com is the place to go. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. That's a big thing. An extremely professional staff of experienced salespeople that you'll love working with. And at the end of the day, they have great warranties, and they're great people, and they're all about St. Louis. Go to gutterpros.com and set up your appointment today, and make sure that the gutters on your home or business are what they're supposed to be with gutterpros.com. NFL championship games this weekend, 2 o'clock this weekend on CBS. You've got the Chiefs and that's Channel 4, by the way. The Chiefs taking on the Ravens, followed by, on Fox, the NFC championship game. Detroit will visit the San Francisco 49ers. And obviously the quarterbacks are going to play a big role. Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and then Jared Goff and Brock Purdy. So leaving the quarterbacks out of it, who do we look at as major X factors in these games? Let's look first at the AFC game, the Baltimore Ravens hosting the Kansas City Chiefs.
So Baltimore has allowed the fewest points, had the most sacks, highest number of takeaways, lowest average of yards per play. That's pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. I would say that Baltimore's defense, if they can find a way to stop Patrick Mahomes, find a way to, because Mahomes is going to make plays. I mean, that's the one thing. But if they can shut down the running game and the extended drives and basically keep Pacheco in check, then I think that Baltimore can win this game from the defensive perspective of what you're looking at.
I think with the Chiefs that Pacheco is going to be a very key part for them. And if they are going to be able to win this game, he has to run the ball effectively, because that's just going to help them in a lot of different ways. But then obviously I think that too, the matchup to watch this weekend, and it's Kyle Hamilton. I know that I renamed him Mark earlier. I need to work on my nicknames, Randy, because it has to be a little bit more clever than that.
Don't give him an opening.
Hammy? Oh, okay. How about that? Yeah. Kyle Hamilton, that's going to be the matchup to watch this weekend, because he is a specimen, and he's going to be matched up with Travis Kelce. I'm interested to see how that goes, but it feels like Travis Kelce, he was able to really break out, and you mentioned this, Dan, earlier, break out in that last game, but with Kyle Hamilton all over him like that, it might be a different story. And I felt like with Travis Kelce, when he was able to open things up, Patrick Mahomes was able to get more comfortable in the game. He's able to throw down the field more, and I think that's going to be a huge part for things. But I think that the Ravens defense might be the key here in winning that game for him.
For me, the X factor is going to be Nick Allegretti. It doesn't look like Joe Thuney is going to play for the Chiefs, and Nick Allegretti is going to replace him. Thuney's one of the best guards in football. Allegretti is a backup for a reason. Justin Madubuike, the nose tackle for the Ravens, is a guy that has 13 sacks this year. He's been great. Thuney could handle him. I'm not so sure that Nick Allegretti can. And then the other thing I'm looking at in this game from an offensive perspective when Baltimore has the ball is how is Kansas City going to be able to handle with, and Edwards might not play either, their safety. Now you've got Mark Andrews back joining Isaiah Likely. You've got probably the most lethal 2 tight end setup in the entire NFL. How does Kansas City handle that pair of tight ends?
I think it's interesting what Spags would do. Can he play zone? Can he play man-to-man? Because either way, Lamar can beat you. He can throw out of the pocket, and if you're going to allow him to scramble, he's the best scrambler in football in terms of what he can do from the quarterback position. I don't know, man. What do you think? If you're Spags, can you go zone with now a weapon added to the tight end, as you guys talked about, if Baltimore's healthy enough to play? Can you go zone, or do you have to go man and try to force?
I think you've got to go man against that group, and it's really tough. And the other part of this, Dan, is that...
But you can't take your eyes off him for a split second.
No, and they might not have Willie Gay either. Remember last week, Gay was going to be the spy for Josh Allen. You'd think that he would do that for Lamar Jackson, too. If Willie Gay can't play, then all of a sudden Kansas City's dealing with... I guess Bolton could do it, but you take Bolton away from what he does best, and that's run to the ball, run and hit.
The Ravens' defense, too, just going back to that about why they're another part of this X factor, is that they're so good at taking away your weapons. So I'm just really interested to see how Patrick Mahomes handles that and the rest of the offense.
This game, with as dynamic as the quarterbacks are, it could wind up being a low-scoring game. And this might come down to, kind of like it did for Buffalo last week, this might come down to injuries for Kansas City.
And I know this is about the defense. I just want to go to Mahomes for a moment. I was just curious, like, what he's done in his career. So he's 87 now in 25. He's 87 and 25, already with 13 postseason wins. The dude is 26 years old. He's got as many wins or more than Marino, Aikman, Rodgers, Staubach. I mean, you're talking about a guy that if it ended tomorrow, he's in the Hall of Fame. Like, no question about it. Slam dunk.
Right. He's the best thrower of the football, especially off-platform, that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Just real quick, don't you guys believe, even with the injuries and how just fluky of a season it's been for the Chiefs, despite them, I mean, you say fluky, but then they're in this position right now because of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs defense, all the other factors, they find a way. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes always finds a way. They still feel like the standard in the AFC, right?
They do. Until somebody beats them, they do.
I don't know. I think Baltimore is. Right now, well, just because of the regular season.
As we speak at this moment, 9:22 on January 26, 2024. Baltimore is. They're the best team.
Yep.
But Kansas City's still the Super Bowl champs.
That's right, until you knock them off. Yeah. That's right.
Okay, non-quarterback X factors for the NFC Championship game. And, guys, I'm going to start with this. Aiden Hutchinson, I wanted the Jaguars to take Aiden Hutchinson with the first pick in the draft. They took Trayvon Walker, and I think they'll wind up, it'll turn out to be a mistake for them. Hutchinson is a stud. Colton McKivitz is the young right tackle for the 49ers. He's got a ton of pressure on him. Dan, you mentioned that they're going to have to get some help chipping from Kittle, but I think the matchup to watch, if Purdy is going to be successful, is going to be slowing down Aiden Hutchinson. And I think McKivitz is going to be the X factor. He can do it. He's capable physically of doing it, but not many people have against Aiden Hutchinson.
I agree with you. That's exactly who I had down, too. Now, on the other side of it, I will say I think a key for the Lions in this one, and I think another big matchup to watch this weekend, is the Lions rushing game against the Niners front seven. Now, if you saw in that Lions game last weekend, in the second half there, who were the two players that really stood out and broke that game open for the Lions? It was Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery.
Right.
So you have a great matchup there. My keys are going to be both of them. If that's okay with you guys, the X factor for the Lions doing well is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
Are you guys sick of hearing whether or not Brock Purdy is just a system quarterback?
Yes, I'm sick of it.
Yes.
So we find out if he is a product of the system or the engine that kind of runs this system. I mean, and I think a lot of pressure is on him, and I wonder if Detroit is going to load up front, Randy, like you're talking about, and make Brock Purdy beat them. So if you're Dan Campbell and you're defensive minded and you go into this game, you say, boys, here's the deal. If he beats us, tip our cap, but we're going to throw everything, the kitchen sink at this kid. He's got weapons. We may be in one-on-one situations, but we're going to make him, because of the pressure that's on him, and pressure literally, we're going to make him beat us.
We had Ricky Prohl on the other day, and he talked about how Tampa Bay blitzed. And they didn't blitz much, but they blitzed on that play where he scored the touchdown. San Francisco's a lot like the greatest show on turf in that they invite the blitz. And Purdy is so good at getting rid of the ball and into the hands. This is where McCaffrey out in the flat can really cause havoc for Detroit. If Purdy has to get rid of it in a hurry, McCaffrey's going to be prepared to get the ball. McCaffrey's the best all-around running back in the league since Marshall Faulk. And they can do the exact same things that the greatest show on turf did.
Deebo Samuel, by the way, is participating in practices, limited, though, with his shoulder injury that he's had, but you'd have to anticipate that he's going to play on Sunday. So he's going to be another weapon, and it's going to be fun, man. Both these games are fun.
And I think that's why that narrative exists around Brock Purdy, is because he has so many weapons around him. You brought this up, Randy, before. It's kind of the same thing that people would bring up with Kurt Warner, with all the weapons that he had around him, with the greatest show on turf, all that factors into it. I get that, but at the same time, I can't discount what he did in that last game where he orchestrated 12-play, 69-yard game-winning drive. To me, clutch moments is what defines a good quarterback.
In the rain.
In the rain.
And without Deebo. Yeah, that was huge. That was a monster drive.
I could make a case for all four QBs having a different set of pressures going into this game, not just to win, but what the win means for them. And I think the one that it means the most to is Lamar. I think he's got a ton of pressure on him to win this weekend, to get to a Super Bowl, then to win a Super Bowl. Then I think it makes him a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Even if he gets in, I think if he wins this Sunday, I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Let me give you one other X factor, and it's a homer pick. But there's no better field flipper in the NFL right now than Jack Fox, the Ladue punter for the Lions. You talked about the Lions wanting Purdy to win the game for San Francisco. If you do force him on a regular basis to try to go 90 yards, 12 or 13 plays, what you hope for is a mistake if you're Detroit. And Fox could put them in a position, the Lions in a position, where they have to defend a 90-yard field. So Fox could be a major X factor. He's a huge weapon for the Lions.
Isn't it amazing if you look back at the Chiefs and the Bills last week? The Chiefs had a total of 7 possessions in the game. In the game. And they scored on 5 of them. So, like we're saying, I said this earlier in the week. If you went back 10 days ago, you said, man, the Chiefs, they're just not the same. This is where they're going to go down. The run is over. Kelce doesn't look right. It's Mahomes with limited wide receivers that don't catch the football. And now all of a sudden, Rashee Rice is going out 10 yards a catch. Kelce looks like he's Travis Kelce. And they go on the road and beat Josh Allen. You feel like it's a totally different team.
We may have never seen a better offensive-defensive pair on a sideline than Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. It's
pretty good.
Oh, yes. And Rashee Rice, I think sometimes we forget that he's a rookie. Like, this is a whole new experience for him this season, and the way that he's been able to rise when Patrick Mahomes needs some more of those weapons, he's another big key in this.
No doubt. We'll have the NFC Championship game for you, the Niners and Lions, 5:30 kickoff after the Blues game on Sunday, and of course you'll be able to watch the AFC Championship game on Channel 4 at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Kansas City. Man, they just show Kansas City all the time in St. Louis.
Yes, they do.
I guess they kind of have to.
Yes, they do.
This time.
Because they just keep winning.
What are you going to do, not show them on Sunday?
Right.
Yeah.
And we hope you enjoy it. Those are our non-quarterback X Factors. Coming up, Robert Thomas is going to join us from Seattle, where the Blues take on the Kraken
tonight. You think he's going to be up?
Yeah, he'll be up.
Okay, so he's pretty solid about these?
Yeah, he's very solid. He'll be ready
good.
to rock and roll. Next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are in the market for new flooring for your home, there's only one company to get in touch with in St. Louis. It's Ambassador Midwest Floor. You can find them on the web at ambassadorfloor.com. Find the location nearest you. And you know, when you have people over to your house, the first thing they see is your floors. Other than your walls, which you can paint, your floors are taking up the most space in the home. Well, think about how new floors could change the look of your home, seamlessly connecting every room with style. And that's what we want to do now, is connect every room, especially with open floor plans. Some people replace their floors every 7 to 10 years, and I suggest you do it right and visit Ambassador Midwest Floor. Now, you don't have to settle for cheap floors from the box stores when you can get floors from Ambassador Midwest Floor with the largest selection. You can choose from the latest floor styles, pet-friendly, stain-proof, waterproof technology, and with new floors, you can check out Shaw Floors, the finest collection in the area. They have hardwood, carpet, and luxury plank at Ambassador Midwest Floor, and you can save up to $500 on all Shaw Floors during their New Year New Floor sale. Do it yourself or get the finest installation from their employee team of over 100 master craftsmen certified in the latest flooring technology. Love your floors and experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues back in action tonight, facing off against the Seattle Kraken. It's a 9 p.m. puck drop. You can catch the pregame show right here on 101 ESPN starting at 8 p.m. And coming up right now, it's St. Louis Blues center Robert Thomas. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Inside the Blues locker room. What a goal by Robert Thomas! It's time now for Blues forward Robert Thomas on the opening drive.
Driven by Pure Performance, the only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
Dan McLaughlin, Randy Carricker, opening drive 101 ESPN, and we head to the Pacific Northwest. And our friend, Blue Center Robert Thomas, joins us as he does every week here on this program. Robert, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well, guys. Thanks.
Okay, you're missing out on just absolutely miserable weather here in St. Louis. It's been raining and cloudy for the last few days. I know it's rainy and cloudy in Seattle. Are you a guy that is solar powered? I know you spend your career indoors practicing and playing hockey, but are you kind of solar powered? Is the sun important to you?
Hitting the hard questions today.
You betcha.
I definitely do enjoy the sun. Yes, I feel like as I've gotten older, I've enjoyed it more and more.
Good, because I mean, this is depressing right now. What we're doing. The only thing that's making us happy is that you guys keep winning.
Yeah, there we go. That's something to cling to.
All right, I guess I'll try to follow up with that amazing question. Hard-hitting question. Well, I did want to ask you, Robert, about just a great start, obviously, to the road trip, as Randy mentioned there, and you guys close it out tonight in Seattle. 2 impressive wins back-to-back, and both were games where you guys had to really weather the storm throughout the game. What did you see or maybe even learn from your team during that time?
Yeah, I think just the fight. We're a good team in close games. We find a way to win games, and I think we just proved that again. Calgary's been playing really well lately, and obviously Vancouver is one of the top teams in the league all year. So two really good tests for us, especially on the back-to-back. And, it came down to it at the end of the day. We were able to get the job done. So pretty happy with all of us, and hopefully it builds some momentum going into the break.
Robert, I know you're very close to the Tkachuk family. Did you have a chance to see the Blues Hall of Fame and see Big Walt go into the Blues Hall of Fame?
Yeah. There's probably 7 or 8 of us that were there, and obviously a cool night, especially when you just get to sit here and they kind of hot stove up there and tell some stories. And there's some definitely some good personalities that were there. So pretty cool to just kind of be there and be in the moment with that, and obviously a big honor for Big Walt and the family. So it was a pretty special night.
So Brett Hull was the same way in the room as he was up on that stage. And as you know, you've been around Big Walt enough. He is a gregarious sort. Who's the teammate that you've had, past or present, that has been that kind of guy where you just never know what's going to come out of his mouth?
Oh, geez. There's been a couple. It's a good one. I always find the French Canadians are really loud. Perron was pretty loud. Blazer can be loud, so it's I'd have to give it to them.
Well, Robert, I want to go back to that Vancouver game. Jake Neighbours was spectacular in that one, collecting his 3rd multi-point game of the season, and he's up to 15 goals right now, just one away from you. What have you thought of Jake Neighbours this season, and are you surprised that he's gotten up to 15 goals?
No, not at all. I think for me, he's always been known to go to the hard areas, score the hard goals, and he plays an honest game. And I think the thing I've been most impressed with is just how quickly he's gotten confidence. Some of these goals that he's scoring are high-end plays. I remember, a couple games ago, when he was on my line, he made a play, at the top of the circle, went around a D-man, and then just flicked it in the top right corner. And I was like, oh, he's got some confidence. So I think that's the biggest thing I've seen from him, and he deserves it. He's playing unreal. He's been playing well for us all year long, and I think just as that confidence continues to grow, I think we're going to see a lot more from him, and I'm excited to see where he turns out. He's a great kid and a great player.
Robert, take us through your day today. So you're going to have a lunch at some point, maybe a breakfast. You got practice. You got to skate. You probably have film session. You get on a couple of buses. What's a day like leading up to a game tonight?
Yeah, you pretty much just said it all.
So, take us through it.
Practice in the morning, 11 o'clock, and then come home, eat, sleep, get back on the bus, watch some video when we get there, and off we go. That's pretty much it.
What's your pregame meal? Do you do something that's the same every time, or do you switch it up?
I'm pretty similar, like pasta, chicken, and have some salad. So that's usually my go-to.
You mentioned the break, the All-Star break. Do you have all your plans in place now for the trip to Toronto?
Yep. Yeah, I got everything squared away now, so I'm pretty excited.
I have a hard-hitting question for you about the All-Star game, Robert. So have you seen the celebrity captains who are going to be there? Have you seen that yet?
I've seen 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
I haven't seen them all yet.
So it's Tate McRae, who is a new pop singer, and then it's going to be Michael Bublé, Justin Bieber, and Will Arnett. Which one are you most excited to meet?
I'd probably go with Justin Bieber, I'd say.
Have you ever met the Biebs before?
No, I have not. Bublé is a close second, though.
There we go. That's good.
Do you think that Justin Bieber could score on Jordan Binnington if Binnington is trying?
Probably not.
So, that's one thing that at some point this has to happen. They've had their little challenge over the years. At some point we've got to get Binner and Bieber on the ice together just so that Bieber can get shut down by your goalie.
That'd be funny to watch.
It'd be good. Hey, one last thing. You get to see a couple of guys tonight that you were on the Stanley Cup team with, in Jaden Schwartz and Vince Dunn. Is it different? Because we've talked about playing against teammates and guys before. Is it different playing against guys or just seeing guys from that group that you won the Cup with?
Yeah, it's always different. Just winning creates a special bond, something that you always remember. And, it's definitely a little bit weird playing against guys like that, that you've won with. So it's always, I've always enjoyed playing against friends and buddies and ex-teammates, and it'll be the same, but definitely a little bit of a different feeling, that's for sure.
And one last thing before we let you go. You guys play on Sunday before the football games. Are you guys going to get together? Are you going to head to somebody's house and watch the other game, the after you're done, the NFC Championship game? Will you guys watch some football on Sunday?
Definitely watch some football, but it is Friday and that is Sunday. And
you got 2 games between now and then. You're exactly right. All right, Robert, have a great day in Seattle. Go get them tonight, and we'll see you guys when you get back home.
Yep, thanks, guys.
See you. Thank you. Robert Thomas, Blues Center on 101 ESPN.
Robbie Tommy.
Man of few words at times.
Yeah, he's kind of, we woke him up.
Very direct.
7:30
7:30.
Yeah. Well, we probably did.
Yeah.
And
Appreciate you, Robert.
Yeah. After the All-Star game, then the Blues have the week off, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and then they play at Buffalo on the 10th. So they're going to have some time off, and they should be refreshed and ready to rock and roll when they come off of the All-Star break.
I would assume that a bunch of these guys are headed to Mexico. That would be my guess. Those that are not participating in the All-Star game, usually they try to get away and shut things down, get in the warm weather, enjoy themselves, and then get ready to go.
Not
the
a
second
bad
half.
thing to do.
Yep.
Just be careful walking on the beach. Don't cut your foot.
That's very important.
You had a little tease there. You said they'll be ready to rock and roll, and I thought you were going to say, and so are we.
So are we.
Yeah.
Next on 101 ESPN.
Daily fantasy players in Missouri, there is a new game, and it's Pick'em Champions, and it's brought to you by our friends at Underdog Fantasy. It's so easy. You can pick 2 to 5 players from at least 2 different teams. You select higher or lower on the player stat projections, and then you're entered into a contest alongside other underdogs. The best part about Underdog Fantasy is the live entries that you can put in. No more waking up at 11:50 and scrambling to get your football picks in. It doesn't matter now. Even if the game's live, you're getting your entries in on Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is super easy to play. It's even easier to get started. You just go to their easy-to-use mobile app or to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code ROCC, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Plus, they'll give you a special pick of higher than 0.5 total yards to use on your first Pick'em entry. That's a free entry, essentially, for free money this weekend in the championship games. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code ROCC Rocc to get your first deposit of $10 or more up to $100 doubled, plus that special pick. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
I want to rock. And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
From the one, the only Matthew Rocchio. What do you got, sir?
Well, we're going into the weekend, and it's 2 big football games, so I thought I'd throw out the lines here and get your guys' thoughts. Maybe if people want to drive across the river or jump on Underdog Fantasy and place in a little bit of, place some money, place some entries down, maybe you can win a little money today on the NFC Champion, or on Sunday, I should say, on the NFC Championship game. So I want to go first through the big ones, the spread and the odds. It's minus and plus 3.5. It's the Ravens favored by 3.5 against the Chiefs. And right now you can get the money line for the Chiefs at plus 176 or minus 210 for the Ravens. Anything jumping out to you there? I like that Chiefs money line. I'm just going to say that right now.
Okay. I like the Ravens to cover at home.
I like the Ravens to cover at home. I think that so far in the playoffs, only one home team has lost. No, 2 now. 2 have lost so far. Dallas lost at home, and the Buffalo Bills lost at home. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think the Ravens cover this weekend.
I'm going to have to defer to you guys, but I'll agree because that sounds right. I don't know. I mean, do you guys buy into the narrative, though, that the Chiefs were able to get away from the whole, fixation on that Patrick Mahomes hasn't played a playoff game away from home and he was still able to do that? Does that factor into it?
Yeah, I think so. But as good as Buffalo was playing, as well as Buffalo was playing, I think the Ravens are just a different animal, and especially with the injuries that the Chiefs are dealing with Edwards, Gay, and Tooney.
Pacheco potentially, too.
Pacheco, yeah, he didn't practice yesterday. Those are some real issues for the Chiefs to have to deal with.
The over-under is 44.5. Depending on the defensive injuries to the Chiefs, does that swing you one way or the other on that one?
I'm going to take the over on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 34 to 31.
I think Baltimore puts up
like
a lot of points.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think both teams in the 30, at least close to that. So I think the over on 44.5 is pretty easy.
But we talked about the defenses earlier.
I don't think you stop Lamar. I think Mahomes will put up his fair share of points, and it'll be a track meet for a while, and then I think Baltimore pulls away.
I can see it being a lot like the Buffalo game last week.
That's what I'm saying.
Score-wise, 27-24. But like I said, I think Baltimore will cover. So I'd probably look at 28-24, maybe 31-24.
Yeah.
I am going to throw out a prop bet if you guys want to go with that here.
Sure.
In the show, Rashee Rice right now, you can get him for higher or lower 8 targets since he had his first 100-yard game in Week 14. These are his target counts: 10, 9, 10, 9, 12, 6, 12, 4. It could be one of the 4s, but there's a good chance that they're feeding him the ball. I think 8 targets is easy for Rashee Rice in this game.
Yeah, I think
the over on that.
I like that. All right, let's go. Let's look at the other game overall. Of course, Lions and 49ers. Bigger spread here, so maybe you're looking at a money line for the 49ers. It's 7.5 points right now for the 49ers. Their money line is minus 375. You can get the Lions at plus 300.
I like both home teams to cover.
That's a big number in an NFC Championship game.
It's a big number, period, in the NFL, as tight as these games are. I still like them to cover.
I think you got to go. I think you got to go Lions to cover that one. 7.5 is a big number.
They didn't put the hook in there,
Dan.
too.
I think I'm going to go with San Francisco to cover this one. They're a dominant team. Yep. The Baltimore game notwithstanding. And I always go back, and I've said it a couple times if you haven't heard yet, the Lions are not the same team outdoors. No. Lions averaging 18 points a game outdoors, 31 points a game indoors. They're playing outdoors 74 and sunny. This just plays into San Francisco's hands. The only X-factor question that I have is Debo. But I still think even without Debo, San Francisco wins this game and does so by more than 7.5.
I agree with you guys. And I think that you mentioned the weather factor. You don't have to worry about that this week like you did last week.
Right. And wind won't be a factor either.
Do you guys ever just focus on, and I'm serious with this question, an offensive lineman, and just watch what he does?
All the time.
Yeah.
Trent Williams is unbelievable. He's awesome.
Well, when the Rams had Orlando Pace and Mike Martz was the offensive coordinator and Jim Hannafin was the offensive line coach, they would just X out. It all of a sudden became a 10-man defense. They would X out the opposing team's right defensive end. And that's what you do with Trent Williams, too. Same thing. So
he's unbelievable, man.
He's a mountain man.
And he's athletic. He's got quick feet. He's strong.
And nobody can get past him.
No.
So when he's healthy, he X's out a pass rusher, which is a big thing.
Okay, Randy, your stat for the Lions offense, that's big for me because the over-under in that game, 7 points higher than the early game. That was an over-under of 51.5 between the Lions and the 49ers.
So that tells me that Vegas
24?
Thinks that we're looking at a 28-24 kind of a game, right?
Yep.
That's the break. 27-24 is under, 28-24 is over. Yep. I'll stay away from that number.
But a 7.5 point favorite, so maybe 30-23 kind of a game. 31. I could see 31-23.
I just want to see competitive games that cover.
Yeah.
I'm staying away from
that. Maybe too greedy.
No, I don't think that's greedy whatsoever.
That's a bad number.
Yeah, that San Francisco defense when they're going is so good. I think that is a smart over-under to stay away from.
And here's my other higher or lower on Underdog Fantasy. Brock Purdy right now, 279.5 is his passing yards. He has 300 games, and in his last 16 games, he has 7 where he's passed for over 280. So it's not. So he has 9 where he's under 280, 7 over 280. I think in this one, even if he has an efficient game, I can't see them putting the ball in his hands 35 times again. I'm going lower than 279.5.
This is a McCaffrey game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is. So you said earlier this week, Randy, or maybe it was Brooke, regardless, it was how many people? It was 51 million people watched the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yep.
So the over-under, let's say 54 million this week for the Chiefs and the Ravens. They're the latter game, too.
Oh.
No, Chiefs and Ravens is the early game.
Oh, they're the early game. Okay.
Well, still, I mean, everybody's going to be turning into that game.
So 54 million over-under.
I think you have people doing stuff on Sunday afternoons.
Really? Do you think that? I mean, of course they are, but aren't they
the early game last
doing?
week only had 40. It was 40 for the early game and 50 for the late game.
See, I thought if they were the late game, I think they go over.
I do, too.
Yeah.
With Swifty there?
Yep.
Absolutely. But not now.
No.
I would think it'd be similar to last week. Maybe 42, 43 million
Just a
for
little
the
bit
early game,
less.
53, 54 for the late game.
You were joking about this earlier, Randy. I love that they have the Blues have an early afternoon game, and then we have 2 football games afterwards. I mean, in St. Louis, that's a perfect schedule. I love that.
But the problem is that they collide because the football game starts at 2 and the Blues start at 1, correct?
You can multi-screen it.
That's
all
but unless you're there.
What if you want to go there?
Well, it's not a problem here in St. Louis. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you can't be watching. Well, I guess you can watch a football game on your phone while you're watching the Blues game at Enterprise.
Yeah,
you can do it.
You could. Yeah.
I love it.
There you go.
I have no problem with it. No, I don't. I've got 2 TVs to set up and set my deal up, and then a table for food.
How big's the table? Is the question.
Big.
Yeah.
Well, it's my old tailgating table.
So what time will you start preparing this
Feast.
grandiose meal?
2 o'clock start. Oh, Dan, that's a great question.
8 a.m.? Which is some of the fixins.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did we finalize what your Detroit pick was for the spread?
I found a Little Caesars pizza. I think that might be the play.
Jets right down the street here, Randy, for me.
Yeah, Jets would be a good call, too. So
I told you Motortown Pizza in Brentwood. Everybody needs to try it. So good.
I'm used to not driving far for things.
Well, Jets is right down the street.
I know.
There you go.
Jets might
That'll
be my
easy.
play.
Now, Rocc, is there a prop bet for Jason Kelce being shirtless again?
Oh gosh, I didn't check. Give me a second here. Let me peruse. I
don't think he will because part of the shirtlessness was
the cold. Yeah,
the cold,
but
Bills
it was an homage
fans.
to the Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
He loves the Bill. He was part of the Bills Mafia. That's what he was trying to do. So I don't think he does go shirtless in this game.
Do you think he'll do anything then? I mean, what would be the theme there of what he would do?
Screaming and getting attention, some sort.
Do you think he shows up for this game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll be there.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be shirtless. So I think he'll be very calm, serene. He might have to come home and take care of the cat.
The new cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So, but will Swiftie be there? Because Swiftie's going to be on tour. Swiftie can't make the Super Bowl. She's going to be in Tokyo.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. I believe I discovered something. You can, according there are some very odd sites that are offering. Will Jason Kelce take his shirt off if the Kansas City Chiefs win the AFC Championship? The yes is minus 300. The no is plus 200.
So it's only if they win.
And that's and thank you, Dan, for pointing out what I thought was going to be odd about that one, which is so like if he rips his shirt off in the middle of the game but they lose, am I not cashing that? So I'm a little confused here as well. There's also, you can get, will Jason Kelce celebrate with 2 beers in his hand if the Chiefs win the AFC Championship game? Yes, plus 250, no, minus 400. Will he hug Taylor Swift at the end of the game if the Kansas City Chiefs win? Yes, plus 160. Yes, plus 170. No, minus 160. So apparently there are prop bets out there for Jason Kelce
that are very obscure.
Fantastic.
That's my kind of betting. I'll do that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Text from the 314. Have you people ever seen Mahomes play before? And I responded, who?
Who's that? Have we ever talked about him before?
Who?
Mahomes? Who?
Yeah. He's an owl.
I got it.
He's an owl.
Thanks, Dan.
No problem.
Glad you got
Well,
it.
you're stretching to get to T-Mac.
I am. T-Mac and Ajax coming up with a balloon party here on 101 ESPN. That's between 10 and 11, and then from 11 to 2, you've got BK and Ferrario, and then from 2 to 6, it's the Fast Lane. And I would think that Jamie Rivers will be there for at least a couple of hours, if not the whole show. But Anthony and Carrie will carry you through. Great job today by our producer, audio video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocc. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
I did.
What's your face? We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
Danny, can you just give us a reprise, please?
Yes.
Of Yo-ho?
Yo-ho.
Well done.
That's what you wanted?
So
That's what I wanted.
I'm going to come up with some different variations of it, I think.
I like this.
I'm going to have to think of some things.
Okay.
Because I can't just do yo-ho every time. I got to come up with something. I got to get creative here.
Yeah.
It was angelic.
I like the
Enjoy
yo-ho.
your grid weekend. Okay, so
You
what are you
too,
going to
buddy.
eat? I've told you what my menu is.
I think my wife is not feeling well. She makes great chicken wings. So if she's not feeling well and she can't do that, then I'm thinking maybe Jets Pizza. Okay, go to the street and go get some Jets. It'd be some kind of pizza.
Do you want me to drop by some clam chowder?
I see you enough during the week. I'm good.
I will. Bring the clam chowder.
Randy's like, anyways, I'm going to drop off that clam chowder.
Of course you will. I would love it.
Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show.
I was kidding, Randy.
What, about seeing me too
much during the week? Of course, if you showed up with clam chowder and some carrot cake, you're in.
I got a big recipe, baby. So
I know you do.
I can feed that household of six, a half a dozen cousin.
Yeah. So it's a lot.
It is. Until Monday morning,
half a dozen,
7.
cousin. I know what you're going. I know where you're going.
It's an homage to Jack.
That's
Every day
right.
is an homage to Jack Buck. Until Monday morning at 7. Have a great weekend, St. Louis.
And now for something completely different.